Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
Discover Crypto Family today. Yet again, we get a Trump tweet, we get some news out, and we got CZ pardoned. We actually have Trump speaking live here in just a few minutes, but we want to dive into a couple things on the charts first. We got a guest that's going to be popping in here in a moment, but we got Bitcoin back above $110,000. It feels like we just live in this zone. We also have Ethereum sitting here back around that $3,900, trying to tickle the keys to get back above 4,000. It just cannot seem to do it yet, but it is looking like a little bottoming right here, potential reversal. But what is going on in this market? I'm going to go out of this. We're going to bring up the main boys. We got all three of us in the house today. Mr. Matty B, we got Druth Crypto, and I think we're going to throw it over to Mr. Piano Matty B, but I got to ask every single one of you that's tuned in right now, hit that like button, triple tap it, drop an elbow on it. Let's get active. We got Trump talking in a few minutes. Again, CZ was pardoned. What does this mean for the market? Is the top in? What do we got going on? So let's throw it over to Mr. Piano Matty B. How you doing, good sir? Welcome to the show.
Unbelievable. All things considered, up in Kanadistan, I can't complain. I always do, but otherwise, I'm just watching this bull run from the sides with my popcorn. You want to take a quick whip through some charts?
Absolutely. Let's take a peek under the hood.
Stop me at any time if you agree or disagree. Let's go over to the 4-hour chart. So this is what we're looking at right now. Now, this is a noisy little so-and-so. A lot of things happen on it that don't really matter, but we can just loosely draw out this, cute little head and shoulders pattern, which is not good. And so you can see here we threw out a wick at our last shoulders kind of peak. I don't like that. The fact that if we close this candle low around this 20 moving average, it would basically give that bearish head and shoulders that we don't want. But in order to validate that, we got to go to the golden. It's the golden ratio is a 61.8% fib. If we were to close that, and who knows, with whatever Trump's saying today could rock the market. But ideally, I won't be bullish on this 4-hour chart unless we're up around the 200 moving average, which is also around the 50 Fibonacci at about, let's just call it 115. And if we whip over to the ding dong, the daily chart, you can see, you said it feels like we've been here forever. Because we have. Look at this. All the way back, even off the other tips, we've been just ranging into oblivion here. Like, listen, we got this cross coming down here. I'm not a big fan of crosses because usually they're just lagging indicators. I know it can make for some good, gotcha thumbnails and stuff, golden crosses and death crosses and everything. However, it's just telling what you already know. We have we've been in a downward progression, and here comes the 20 moving average going bearish over the 50. Who cares, really? What we got to see here is that we got to get this green candle up towards this cross, and then that would be the 50% fib on the daily. Not that bullish, but we would just candlestick this wick here. Right now, we're leaving it.
Piano Matty B, you know
Yes,
what
sir.
that kind of sounds like to me at the moment. It's for anybody that used to listen. What was the announcer's name that died recently? John Madden. When you ever listen to him, a play, football, it's like, what we need to do is we need to get the ball to move down the field. They need to score some points. It's like, yeah, that's the whole purpose of the game. So going back to your chart, what you're saying is what we need is for the green candle to go up. That's what we need.
Exactly. And, I always use that analogy. However, in Kanadistan, I use hockey and the play-by-play commentary. It's just everything here is telling us what we already know. I also call this mum rules. Technical astrology is like the mum rules of the house. Hey, kids, dinner is at 6, so be home. And then dad comes home at 6 and says, guess what? We're going out for steak. It's at 7. So the rules stick until dad rules come. And today we're going to experience some dad rules when Trump talks, right? So who cares what this chart says? When dad comes home and he says, we're going for steak, dinner's off at 6. But you can see here, October 20th, 2 days ago, that was 548 days. That was as long as the old bull run of November 10th, I think, when we peaked. So we are officially on day 3 of borrowed time in the longest bull run we've seen, as long as 126 wasn't the local top. then everything's kind of normal with this time. But if we see another high, we're, essentially on borrowed time. What do you think about the borrowed time aspect?
Yeah, I think we're on borrowed time. I think we're trying to shape narrative around what's happening in the charts. On the one hand, we had the 4-year cycle. Everybody's still battling their mind against being absolutely true. On the other hand, we have an entirely different legal landscape in terms of how Bitcoin fits into the global financial structure. And it feels like it's just now kicking off. So in the borrowed time, I do feel like on the one hand, we may be lingering into this moment where maybe we're being a little too frothy and bullish on possibility here. On the other hand, it feels like everything is shifted forward, especially with the government shutdown, especially with the Trump tweets, but most especially because all the big money is just now really looking to come in. So I don't even know if it's borrowed time. I think we're sharing time with an alternate universe at the moment. But I do think we need to just keep our wits about us and not lose hope and make sure that we're joining together. Drew, myself, Piano Matta B, every one of you that's tuned in right now. We've seen some frustrated people in the chat, some people having some mental crises and forgetting that it all comes down to this, guys. It all comes down to tweets from Trump changing the narrative in just a matter of a moment. But at the end of the day, I do think that there's still some bullishness left in this market. The question is going to be, does it resolve into the end of this year and that's it? Or is it all just stair step continuing up?
Yeah, and if we want to extend the whole mom rules, dad rules analogy, I would say that the 4-year cycle is mom's rules, right? This is what mom said for the past 3 data points. Mm-hmm. But as we move into quantitative easing, Jerry Powell gets kicked out. Those are dad rules. Yeah. And dad rules is going to rock the house.
Yeah. My wife woke up early and she stayed home, saw how trained up I have my daughter to help me feed the dogs, and we get all the babies dressed, and she's really quite helpful. My wife was kind of shocked, but it's pretty normal. I just am teaching her hard life skill. You know what I mean? Life doesn't get easier. Now between all of this, Matty B, that head and shoulders pattern kind of bothers, right? Kind of bothers. I am delusionally bullish, as called out in the chat, ever since Bitcoin was at $15,000 a piece. Okay. And I still get people coming in and yelling at me because I've been bullish since 15K. We're at $110,000 per Bitcoin. And the entire timeline of crypto Twitter, I spent a lot of time, going in and out of chats. And this is what it looks like. I mean, it's basically a pile of Solana bruises under the eyes of trenchers that have been battered, beaten, and bruised, right? And I know that there has been a lot of pain felt in meme coins, and even a lot of large layer 1 projects have fallen behind the race. Now, granted, I feel like I'm pretty good at getting out of the way of those massive washouts, but Matty B, can you please kind of talk to people about the long-term vision and how to handle stacking Bitcoin in a based and consistent manner? Because I feel like everyone's just so short-sighted these days.
Well, I think you nailed it with the short-sightedness. Now, it's easy for you and I as dads to have a low time horizon, which you can exchange low for long, right? So I don't necessarily look at any gains of this bull run as some sort of prize that I dump into fiat blood money. To me, it doesn't make sense, so I'm looking out 2 cycles because eventually anything I do have, it's my responsibility to give to the next generation, the legacy, if you will. So when I look out 8 years, it makes me want to buy every single day. In fact, on the one good thing about Canada is we have bull Bitcoin, which allows you to DCA $1 a day if you want. Just over the lightning. So it's amazing. So I'm scheduled there. So it doesn't really matter. So for the next 8 years, I'll just be DCAing the whole time. Now, would I be ecstatic if it went to $1 million? Yeah, for sure. Would there be some changes? Of course. But yeah. I mean, what would $1 million really look like at that point? I mean, we would go through some major economic calamity if we all of a sudden hit $1 million Bitcoin. It could happen though. Could happen.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I do want to just, we're talking midterm, a little bit longer term as well, but jumping back into that sort of oracle in the market, sorry about that, that oracle in the market that keeps hitting these moves right before Trump talks and has been right on so far. Did just open about an hour ago, $87 million long position on Bitcoin. And we do in the wings. We're waiting on the White House to go live. Of course, who cares what the title of what he's supposed to talk about? We've all seen Trump talk about things before. It's probably going to cover everything going on with anything that involves his name whatsoever, from the ballroom to the border to security to Israel to what's going on with, of course, the Chinese tariffs and the economy. So this is why we like to bring them up, because we always see movement in these charts. I do want to just highlight also, though, on Bitcoin, we have this sort of weird, this is a 1 hour chart, sort of downtrend, this support that turned into resistance here and now is flipping to support. And then this resistance that also is flipped to support, kind of in the midst of trying to give an inch so all of us degens can take a mile. And the last thing I wanted to show on that real quick is the fact that the altcoins that all of us are holding on to, and again, I will admit this could be a pipe dream, but Piano Matty B, do you think that this potentially is a pipe dream? Because when I was looking at the others chart, looking at 2019, this shape where it doesn't even feel relevant this cycle because this cycle feels so different. But we had the run up, the P, we had the drop, the U, we had the secondary run up, the M, we had the follow through, just washout crash and COVID, the P, that you get the full pump set up and then boom. And yet again, look at how similar these two shapes have been. The difference is this is an extra 300 days it's taken to do this. So on the one hand, we may be due for an absolute boom season coming out of this, or the entire alt consideration of how it's going to fit in this market is going to be different forever. We don't get anything like this. Maybe it just trickles sideways. What would you say to these shapes?
When they say this cycle's been different, we have to go way back. I'm pretty sure everyone has forgotten about this, but we've already had like a mini meme coin blowout.
Yeah.
Like, what was it, 2 years ago or something? It feels like forever.
I want to stop you there too, because there's people in this chat that don't know where I came from. I literally told people in March I was jeeting. I told them in December I was jeeting altcoins. Those prices have reset all the way back down or even lower than they were in 2024. You're bringing up something very important, Matty B. Those altcoins, 3 to 5x, some of them 10x in the AI agent boom. A lot of them 10 to 20x, and nobody took profits. People faded me, and they mocked me when I did it, and now they're sitting there, carcasses on the ground, calling me an idiot still. I am getting brutal about talking about this because the whole goal here is to gain Bitcoin out of altcoins in the right season. It's not to marry some altcoin and make it go from $3 with XRP to $10,000. It's not happening. It's a pipe dream. Your goal should be to gain more Bitcoin. So I just wanted to stop and address that because I am pretty aggravated with how limp-wristed this market is acting.
Well, let me ask everybody in the chat right now. These are questions you should ask yourself regularly, and drop the comments in the live chat here. If you're watching later, drop the comments down below. If you looked at your portfolio right now and you had to cut one coin and you had to add to a different coin, which coin would you sell? Which coin would you add to?
Yeah, I mean, I could answer that first. If I had to cut, I have a very small amount of Ondo left, and I have no problem kicking it to the curb. No problem. I sold it at $1, and Ondo has been driving me nuts. Even though I got it for 40 cents, it was a 2x. It's completely underperformed a vast majority of my portfolio, and I would buy more Chainlink. That's what I would do. Let me know down in the chat. That's a great question. Matty B, are you even looking at altcoins, or, I mean, are you just selling fiat for Bitcoin? Like, I mean, you've been doing this for years.
Oh, like I said before, I'm not a Bitcoin maxi. I'm a human minimalist, and at worst, I'm a Bitcoin full retard. So basically what I do is any money I have, it's a savings account for me. But I want to go back to that one slide you had with the trader who put the $57 million long.
Let's pull it up, Kel.
Right. So what I always say about trading is that unless you know what Trump's going to say, you are a gambler. You could have all the technical analysis in the world, but the real pros know what's happening in 20 minutes. And they're putting their longs or their shorts in. Of course, we would just be complete speculatrixes, right? We don't know what he's going to say. It could be about the ballroom. It could be about the strategic Bitcoin reserve. But whoever's putting a massive long in, and we'll see, at the end reveals the truth after this. If we see that some trader made $100 million on a long, we'll know that that's a pro trader. And by pro trader, he knew what was happening.
But
Yeah.
the other thing too is you only see this after it happens. And you only know when they sold after it happens. This may just be because they know there's eyes on the account. This is something people need to realize. People are hyper aware now, especially with social media and content and any tradable market, that when somebody's gaining any sort of success, all of a sudden their moves become like a magnifying lens on those moves. And then they can start to shape the market as well, where they know that these tweets are going out about their hit rate. They might just be creating the run up that they sell right before Trump goes live. And then Trump says something bad and it goes down. And you're like, oh, I lost money. And they may have made 15, 20%. So you got to make sure you are doing what's best for your portfolio, learn from what other people are doing, but you don't copy every move they make after you know they made it, because you're always going to be a step behind them.
And I want to ask the chat this. So Trump's going to be talking in about 15, 14 minutes, right? So we're waiting on Trump to come live. I'm actually seeing some rumors that Trump might be addressing a myriad of different issues. And I do want to, kind of highlight this. Let's see here. So focus is expected to be on healthcare, border security, China tariffs, and immigration enforcement, right? That's a whole hell of a lot of issues to be covering. The China tariff conversation is what most directly impacts market prices, Bitcoin prices, and especially altcoins. But it could be a positive. The problem that I've seen is that we get bad news out of Trump and get nuked, right? But then we get good news, kind of like a little dab up to the upside. So, that's what's been
and then nuked.
Right. And then nuked. So that is concerning. It kind of feels like just this, right? It's just back and forth. Absolute chaos, man. And I feel like that grandma, man. It's tough out here, man. But we're gonna be watching that. I stay out of the way generally when Trump is speaking, though. I stay the hell out of the way. I'm not an industry insider, and I have seen the absolute chaos that Trump can cause. He is what I call the KOL from hell.
Well, Drew, did
hell.
you see this? This was a couple days ago. We just saw also the other day regarding Vietnam, but seeing, what gives me conviction, even when we're seeing the market swing around like it is when you see stuff like this. The banks over there in the UK begin taking money from bank accounts to basically fill the gap of their nonsense of how they're spending money. So when I see this, I look at Bitcoin, I look at even some of the degens I play in the altcoin market. I just want to do anything I can to get my dollars into investment markets. And in this case, hopefully as focused into Bitcoin as possible, because it addresses this exact thing. My whole purpose, every single purpose with any altcoin I hold, even Chainlink to this point, is how do I make sure I'm capitalizing on the movement if I have an altcoin to where I can gain more Bitcoin. And if that's not the focus, you end up losing anyway. You might as well just give your money to the government and go sit on a corner and hold up a sign saying you don't like kings.
Matty B knows what Pips is talking about. Shout out to the profile picture there. You got a dog bull dead center on this show here. One of the biggest dog bulls out there. He's talking about bail-ins, though. Bank bail-ins and what the Dodd-Frank Act of 2007, 2008, that was put into place after the great financial crisis happened. And essentially what it means is that the banks here in America can go into your bank account and take out your money to fix their problem, right? And this is, Matty B has been one of the most consistent people when it comes to the importance of self-sovereignty and focus on Bitcoin. And he is in Kanadistan. Right. And there's things that were done during the trucking rally that really helped awaken me in the 2020 flu season crash. Matty, what did the truckers being, their Bitcoin was being stolen from their hands out of the government of Canadistan years ago. Things didn't seem to get better since then for Canada. What would you say to the people in Canada right now that are on the fence about Bitcoin, but they see the problems that you see in their home country, my brother country, Snow, Mexico? What would you say?
Yeah. The long and short of that is what the truck. What the truck.
What the truck, right? What would you say?
Unfortunately, much to my own chagrin, is that I have an 80-20 up here with the population. 80% are and 20% are just, they don't know any better. And there's a small percentage of people that are in Bitcoin. I mean, in my channel alone, it's like 2% of my viewers are from Canada. So what they don't know is that when you, is that me that's beeping?
You're cursing a bunch. I don't know what's going on.
It has an AI sensor that can hear your inner monologue, and it's just
not yet.
You're about to just mother, you sons of beep.
Not yet. So like before 2017, I mean, money in your bank was never your money. Like we all know that, but we're preaching to the choir here. As soon as you put your money into the bank, it's their money. They can essentially do within reason whatever the hell they want. We know that, and that's why we all kind of despise banks. But the majority of the newbie normie, they get their check deposited in the bank every 2 weeks or every month, and that's it. And so like when you want to get a little more dark here, when it comes to the digital ID that's creeping in Canada anyway, 70% government workers and pensioners, they're just going to swipe right to get that digital ID because they won't get paid anymore. So it's just going to instantly pass.
Yeah.
So the question is, do we all feel like the government is spending our money in the most budget-friendly way? The answer is nope.
Who is Pistario too? Hold on. Wait a minute.
You are banned!
Unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, I'll look him up, but shout out to you.
Green Day Prophet said TDS is a real thing, unfortunately. You wouldn't believe the TDS up here in Canadistan.
Oh, is it bad?
Crazy.
Okay.
And EDS too. But the best part is that all you say is like when someone has EDS up here, like, oh, I say you don't like Elon Musk. All you have to say is why. And they're like, no answer.
You can call out fallacies. Right. I've had conversations with some loved ones that they have TDS, and I make time for them because I love them. Their logic is highly skewed, right? Even though I voted for Trump, I have a lot of things that I can complain about that he's done so far, but there's more good than bad so far. And I'm way better off with Trump than I would have been with Kamala Harris trying to negotiate ourselves out of a hot war with China, because China doesn't give a shit what women say. So that is the basic case of what we're at right now. Kelly, we're still waiting on this live stream to come through as well, right? Making sure.
Stay tuned. We'll be live again shortly. But you know, one of the other aspects here too, and I guess this is going to get political because we got Trump coming on in a bit, but I think it's brazenly crazy that because I have people in my family the same way on both sides. I'm very middle of the road. I definitely leaned one direction this time. I've voted on both sides, but when you have things that have happened in the last, since January 20th, like the end of, was it 7 or 8 wars now that people on the left don't even acknowledge happened. The fact that even there's one lady on The View that said, if Trump were to actually get the hostages freed, and if they actually ended the war, I would put a MAGA hat on my head. And she wanted to acknowledge that it's happened. When you look at the amount of investment that's come into this country, I know it sounds ridiculous when Trump says it, because he says, we got 13 trillion, we got 14 trillion, we got 15 trillion. He keeps saying like random numbers. Even if it was 2 trillion, that's incredible. I think it's somewhere in that, upper, probably around that $10 trillion mark, but that is incredible. And the tariffs, as much as even some people on the right don't necessarily agree with, you look at the pressures that's created and the negotiating authority that provides and means of getting India and Pakistan not to go to war, because it directly impacts their economy if they can't export and have things sold in the U.S. So there is incredible power beyond just, it blows my mind. All of us, both sides, no sides right. that we have such shaped perspectives, and we are so, every one of you out there, you, Drew, myself, Piano Matty B, every one of us, we're human. We think that we're smart enough that we did diligence, that we actually got some research on some stuff, and it's all part of other packaged propaganda pieces. You have to make sure you're getting a variety of content from a variety of different places and forming your own opinion, not saying, oh, well, but Trump is Putin's best friend. It's like, I can't.
It's hard on me too as a dad. Like, I mean, there's 4 kids, and I went to purchase they needed new underwear, 10 pairs, $40, right? And we don't have manufacturing here in the United States. That is a problem that is not Trump's. This is a multi-generational problem where we have sold our manufacturing and our industry to China to handle. We wanted China to dig their rare earths and leave our rare earth minerals alone, okay? And this is on our shoulders as Americans and Canadians. We are consumers. We have a consumer's culture. You need to change that on a cultural level to actually see a major difference. Until then, if we continue to be the consumers and just gobble up all this plastic bullshit that China makes and run to Walmart and fill our grocery carts up with crap that we don't need with money that's on credit, we deserve everything that's coming for us. And this is why I am so brutal when it comes to, kind of bringing all of this information to the peak. It is up to you watching this show. It is up to me on a community level to lead by example and to change this from the ground up. That's what I would say. The
upsides of being orange pilled is that, like, I find as I get older, I'm becoming more of a stingy curmudgeon anyway. But with Bitcoin, I value everything in it. So when it comes to buying anything, anything of like real importance, like say $200 and up, I want to get it, and then I end up like abandoning the cart because I'm like, I'm just gonna buy Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So, well, I think about that. I think since I started investing really heavily in 2015, 2016, it changed what I pay attention to. Like, I never thought about the FOMC meeting, 15 years ago. 10 years ago, I did, because that's when I started getting into the investment markets, understanding what's going on with gold and interest rates and the bond market. I literally feel like I'm not saying I got but I feel like I went through some sort of PhD economist program that is a contrarian view, because everything you see, I can't even remember some of their names, that talk about what's, especially like the value proposition of Bitcoin. I'm like, are you so indoctrinated that you can't understand the unwinding of the value of the dollar really is only based in the strength of the US military? That's it. And the purchasing power of that dollar only goes down. I mean, the value of the dollar has gone down like 14% since its peak. I think it's 11% this year. 11%. And they tell us that the inflation is 2%. They don't tell you that the devaluation of the dollar is compounding the the inflation rate of which that you're spending, but also the fact that we've had all these supply chain issues. We've had all this stuff that's happened in the last 6 years. The last 6 years, there's been more change in human society, I think, than we've probably seen in the entirety of human evolution, because we have phones. Sure, we have internet. We had those before, but now social media has taken off in such a way that we also have blockchain and AI that's now compounding it. Do you all know that there is more content that is produced daily? It just sort of tipped the chasm about last week, I believe, that there's more content that's produced daily now than every content creator in the world produces as a human. I'm talking from AI alone. I'm talking every newspaper article, everything written, every research paper, every content written. There's more being produced by AI. That's why when you say you're doing diligence, what diligence are you doing and where? Because you don't even know where it's getting pulled from. It's
such a
very bizarre place.
That's incredible, Kelly. I had not heard that before.
Yeah.
That's why you come to the show. We learn. Right? We learn. You stay open to learn more. I
you
love
can actually bully AI too. Like I sit there and bully Grok all the time. It's like, I think you're wrong. Do that again. It'll be like, oh, sorry, my bad, brain fart. You're right. I did get it wrong. And then I'll say, well, I think you got it wrong again. And it'll just keep on regurgitating an answer. Now it's close, it's ballparky, but whether it's 100% accurate, I no longer believe it.
Well, no. David Sachs posted something yesterday. Let me see if I can find my response to him. But he posted a very interesting right here. Here you go. Pull this up on the screen. He said, this is from David Sachs. He said, concerning feedback, please. We're not going to go through the whole thing, but new blog post, link below. This one on essay. It's an investigation into how large language models, which is basically AI. Where's AI getting its data? In February 2025, the Center for AI Safety published Utility Engineering, Analyzing, Controlling, blah, 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 blah. Where is it getting its information? Well, when you look at this, ChatGPT values Nigerians 20 times more highly than Americans. So there's something happening, and I'm not saying Nigerians aren't great. They're great. My point is having an equitable basis, the way it's weighing people, information, stories, content. So the problem with AI right now is when somebody gets an answer from AI, they think, boom, stamp of approval, this must be true. AI gave it to me. And in reality, what AI has done, we've seen a lot of the sources that it's getting from Wikipedia, Reddit, social media, and a lot of sort of, let's say, left-leaning cultural sort of ideals. And that, not that those are bad, but we need a balanced perspective on everything we're getting so we know what's going on. It's just a very weird place that we're in right now. And I actually said that. I said it speaks to the data framework our kids are being indoctrinated with right now, as well as, you know, some of these same sources and ideologies are being further codified into our tech. And people think from tech must be true. So it's a very bizarre world we're living in right now where what is true? Are you real, Drew? Are you real? Is that mullet real or is that CGI?
It's all CGI. He's fake. He's fake too. I bully Grok as well. You know, ChatGPT has its masters. I also bully Grok. Listen to this. So Grok wouldn't acknowledge the amount of people that were starved to death in India during World War II from Allied forces taking the food supply out. Refused to acknowledge that as even happening. 2 million, 3 million people wiped out in one country from famine. And Grok did not acknowledge that that actually happened. So when it comes to how we take in information, there's going to be a huge degree of human oversight and involvement. And you can't just let AI think for you. You just absolutely cannot let AI think for you. Kelly, we're still waiting on the live stream from the Trump White House as well. This is a chaotic time to be alive, though, man. It is a really chaotic time to be alive. You know, let's run through some of your stories, Kelly.
Sorry.
We got what's that?
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
I just accidentally hit something, but I wanted to actually show you. We're talking about AI.
Yeah.
If you go to watch this, this is AI.
That's fake. That's not you.
That's not me.
Whoa, man. Holy cow. That is absolutely incredible. So
Isn't that?
Let me get this straight. So you're making AI videos of subject matter you would want to cover, but then the AI is the person behind the screen, essentially.
No, so what I'm doing here is let me see if hold on a second. So there's a program called Hey Gen, right? And so you basically sit there and talk into it, and it reads you a script, and then it makes you a avatar, and then you just do whatever script you want in it. I think it's a minute long or something, or maybe it's extended. I haven't done it for a long time because I feel like morally I'm at a crossroads with it.
Right.
Oh, it's like you're feeding it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And here's the thing, that we've done enough content, the three of us, that AI can reproduce us in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah.
Right. And
and
so when you said, are you real? There'll come a time where we won't be able to, because there's AI and then there's AI agents, right? So once AI agents start working, well, they just get better and better and better and better off each other, right? Whereas if we were humans talking to an AI agent, we would know that something's kind of clunky, right? But that was maybe 6 months ago. In a year from now, it's going to be way better than that.
Yeah. You got to keep AI on its toes. You got to do crazy human things that it can't see coming, like that. You know, it just is what it is. You know, it is what it is. Now, I do have actually a handful of things that I'd like to cover here. As we're waiting for Trump to go live, I want to run through a set of things that I kind of left out of the morning show because there's so much to talk about. So let's actually pull this up here. So K-pop. coming to Avalanche. All right. For everyone, that's my soda pop. You, my soda pop. You know what I'm talking about if you're a dad of young children. K-pop is coming to Avalanche. The entertainment company Titan launched a Together app for K-pop fans worldwide to engage with their favorite artist. For you that don't know what K-pop is, you're lucky, but this is probably going to be a pop culture phenomenon that is going to consume the world. And absolutely incredible music design. As a musician, I think we're all musicians on this panel. Piano Matty B, obviously in his name. Kelly toured around, creating. Kelly played some pretty big shows in his day. He's pretty modest about it. I've seen some of the videos, and obviously me. I do have a band currently, and I think we're going to name it Detonator, or Tripod Annihilator is another option out there. Drop your band name in. Drop ideas if you have. I mean, this is a Christian heavy metal band. Now the market looking pretty green as we're going into this Trump announcement. We're keeping an eye on the Trump announcement in the background for the moment he comes up live. People wanted me to cover Aerodrome, and Aerodrome I think is in opportunity zone right now. This is the main swap spot for base ecosystem. It has been bludgeoned, beaten down from the market sell-off. And I think there's actually some good upside to come for Aerodrome. And it is important to note, everyone was watching this whale yesterday that put in a $40 million short on the market. They actually ended up losing a little bit of money, but overall, this account is up. Not all that glimmers is gold, folks. So you cannot take any of these massive whale movements as a guarantee that that's the way the market's going to move. And I have a question for the chat. This is Goxstein putting it up. Which crypto community would actually run through a wall for their project, not including Bitcoin? I want to know from you in the chat, what crypto community would come through the wall like a Kool-Aid man to pump their bags right now? I'd say XR people are the most vicious when it comes to pumping their bags. So XRP is probably one of the most adamant crypto communities out there. I would say that. That's just me. Kelly, who do you think would just bring the house down to make their chart move up?
It's Dog. Dog.
Okay.
I don't say that just because I'm a fan of the Dog on Bitcoin ecosystem. I say that because I'm a metrics guy. I look at data, and there's months on end where Dog has the highest, higher than Doge, higher than Shiba Inu, higher than Floki. I mean, you name the coin, it is basically tops everything in that sector in mindshare and social engagement. Blockchain.com, which also is one of the oldest wallets, actually changed their PFP to a Dog the other day. They got like 1.3 million followers on X, but XRP does have a pretty rabid community. Unfortunately, it's not the friendliest. And if you say a data point that they don't like with, even though it's a true data point, they think that you have lost your mind because they can't look at a chart, I guess. But yeah.
What do you think, Maddie? Who's the most vicious altcoin community that, in your perspective, from your algorithm, that you see out there?
I think the silent killer is Solana. I think they're the Crispin Glover villains of the altcoin ecosphere. Like, they're very quiet, but they're silent assassins. You know, they when people start dogpiling on Solana how shitty it is or something, they don't fight back. They just go, hey, whatever.
This is true too. Hexicans, remember Hexicans, Matty B? Yeah. That's a vicious crowd right there. That's an absolutely vicious crowd.
I just wanted to bring this up just to remind everybody as you're all tuning in. We got 4,683 people in the room. Show some love. Crypto ecosystem, all of you that are here, you're doing it like the engagement's down across the board in crypto. And this is the time when people need to be locked in. So show some love. Drop a comment in there. What you buying, what you selling, hit the like button. We are going to bring Trump up as soon as he pops in here. Hopefully he says some stuff about China, tariffs, economy, Fed rate cuts. I'm sure he dropped a pretty major F ending with the K bomb at the very
live on the show last time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we were late on the beep, but we're going to jump into some more stories on crypto.
Well, I did want to just, CZ indeed did get pardoned by Trump this morning. So as unbelievable as this may be for everyone across the planet that wants to see some form of justice and normalcy come to economic markets, it's not so the case. Trump has indeed pardoned CZ. CZ is undeniably one of the most, if not the most influential person in crypto. And with this pardon, the Binance ecosystem is absolutely on fire right now in a good way. Aster, BNB token, a lot of those BNB ecosystem plays are going ballistic, seeing that CZ did indeed receive this pardon officially on October 23rd. Trump pardoned Changpeng Zhao. So,
Well, you know what? Matthew Hyland, friend of the channel, great analyst in the space, made some pretty good assertions about this. Because if you look at the timeline the last 2 weeks, we had the biggest flash crash in history.
right.
Binance was very tied in with that in some ways because a lot of exchanges had their liquidity tied up through the Binance exchange.
Right.
And them
70%.
locking that out basically really contributed to the massive crash. And what did that crash do? Let's not look at it like I'm a victim, this sucks, it happened. Let's look at it. What would be a functional reason why something like that would happen? An enormous amount of open interest and leverage in the market as Wall Street is entering. So it's interesting that now we flushed out all this, like tens of billions of dollars in open interest. The market, in many ways, sorry for people that lost money. It's terrible. Some people even lost their lives.
I lost a couple grand.
But the fact of the matter is that the market itself is healthier as Wall Street's entering, and now CZ's pardoned. Is Binance going to have an IPO in the U.S.? Are they coming back to the shores? It's a very curious timeline of events.
Do we know what CZ did?
He's not the CEO, so it's not anything direct. His wife.
I mean to go to
Talking
jail.
about why he initially got charged. Anyway.
It was anti-money laundering accusations. Department of Justice took aim at him under the Biden administration, and it was part of a larger choke point 2.0 to put a black eye on the crypto industry. And, you know, it's almost like a thing where you have criminals operating on a exchange of value type network, and then the DOJ locates those and then finds you culpable for them because you're the CEO of them. So it is essentially a very muddy gray area on what the DOJ was able to pull off against CZ. Now his wife is under what's that guy's name? It's like Richard Tang. Richard Tang is the new actual CEO.
Dickie
Yang
Tang.
Z or
yeah. And as we lead into this Trump announcement, I do want to highlight that Putin is putting out a little bit of hopium for the war to come to a close. Dialogue is always better than war. Putin put this out this morning. And, though Trump did negotiate a ceasefire in Gaza, it was broken. The conflict is not coming to an end, in my opinion. It's almost set up for a Cold War type situation. And there's a lot of people that are basically calling it quits on this market, in my opinion, at the worst time. In my opinion, giving up on this chart where we're at right now is insane to me. Like from previous market high to low, this is the fib pulled from the whole thing. We were halfway there.
Whoa!
This is plenty of room to run, plenty of room for activities here. And it is a different structure. There's many data points that I could highlight. I can't do it in a minute, but essentially we ranged longer than we've ever done in Bitcoin's history at previous all-time highs. We ranged there for 224 days. We've never done that before. We also pulled back into the 1.618 down to the 1, when usually in Bitcoin bull markets, we zip right on through that bad boy. And so that's a new data point. And now we have ETFs, which in my opinion are the reason why we see this staircase type pattern where you pump up, you wash down the weak hands at the previous range high, and then pump up to the next zone, pump down to the previous range high, and then go up to the next. And what we just experienced with that CZ liquidity involvement is a washout down to the previous range high. And in my opinion, all the Fed rate cuts, all the reasons for liquidity injection are absolutely giving us the juice in the tank, pun intended, to at least perform to the middle of this purple zone at the 2.618 to 3.618, which is right in between $150,000 to $200,000 per token. So let's go to Trump. Is he live? Do we have a psyop from the chat? Is he live, Kelly? Let's pull it up.
I don't see him live yet.
Let's see here. We'll pull it up. We're keeping it live here for you, and I'll double check here. Sometimes the chat makes me lose my mind. Let's see here. I'll pull this up.
There, it shows it on. It shows it on the. Here you go. It's going to be live. I'm going to do it here. Hold on one sec.
Yeah. Take your time. We'll make sure we catch this. Oh yeah. All right. So we just got it. All right. Perfect. All right. So let's pull this up. Perfect. Beautiful. And make sure that sound is on. So well, you'll turn the sound on when we're ready for it, rather. But Trump is usually fashionably late. So, we'll keep an eye out on that and make sure that it comes about. But I just want to implore people to, what is Pistario? What are you doing?
You are banned!
I can't believe this. Okay. They're saying he's talking. We're on the waiting screen right now. I got to look up Pistario right now.
I'm looking it up right now. Pistario.
Yeah, what is Pistario?
When you think about the people in the community that are downtrodden and they want to sell, you just got to remind them sell into what? What are you going to do? Sell? Are you going to pay capital gains on it? And then what? Then the market, the market's going to take off. Because I was just thinking today, the reason why I'm bullish, I was driving home, is that how your mind starts to F with you a little bit. You're like, well, maybe this is a time in the market where, you may take some profit or whatever. As soon as I start thinking that, I know I've hit that psychological point where all humans get to at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. What do you sell into? What are you going to do?
I found Pistario. If you go to this tab right here.
Okay. I'm afraid of it.
But I'm not sure if
everyone's banned. Everybody is banned.
You are banned.
This person here, or if he means this person here, because maybe you look like that. Yeah, but maybe I see you are sitting in your chair regularly. I don't know.
I'm gonna pull a Gaddafi on you all. Okay, Jesus, Louise. All right,
you guys want to see something scary in Canada and cut this off? It's a 30 second clip, but this is what's happening right now in Canada. You guys ready for this?
Is there audio?
I don't think we got.
Well, I don't think we can hear it.
Yeah, we don't got audio on that, Maddie.
Oh, okay. Forget it. That's
you can share your screen though.
I don't know if I can hear with Ecamm.
That guy looks like one of my favorite gaming streamers, AO Fatnap, though.
This is the new mayor of Edmonton, Alberta. You might be familiar with the Edmonton Oilers. Anyway, in this little video, he's promoting how he's going to turn Edmonton into a 15-minute city.
Oh, good. I'm sure you're excited about that, Maddie B. That's going to be really good for you to be constricted and controlled by the so-loving government of
another one of those conspiracies come true, right?
Right. All right. Let's keep an eye out on that that White House. I have it up on my phone as well. They're still not live. Trump's going to edge us. He loves edging us. He's such a weirdo about it. Oh my gosh, this is interesting. It looks like drop me a link for this. Crypto Stevo's talking about CZ agreed to debate Peter Schiff according to Watcher Guru on X. That's going to be a lit show. In gold, it's had its run. It's doing really, really good right now, but it sat absolutely stagnant / down for decades. What's this graph you got here, Matty B?
This is the gold chart here.
Oh yeah, that's a rough one.
And everyone's going crazy over 30% a pump. It's great for gold bugs. It's great, 30%. And then we see that which looks like kind of a reversal candle if you're really asking my honest opinion on it.
Yeah, I think it's going to $3,400 now. I think it's going to mirror exactly what it did in 1979 to 81. We're in stagflation. No one wants to admit it. I've been saying this for years. They're going to have to admit that I'm right about it later. I talked about COVID happening in 2014. I talked about Ukraine happening in 2017. And when it actually happens, then they're like, oh, yeah, I agree with you. But while we're saying these things ahead of it being admitted, people will continue to call me crazy. I don't care. I have conviction in what I say. I spend basically all of my time cross-checking myself to make sure that I'm not sending people that are listening to me down the wrong path. And sometimes it's uncomfortable if I bring up problems with a project or, an industry. People that are holding those bags get mad at me. But when it all comes down to it, here's what's going to happen. They're going to print 10 to 20 trillion bucks in 10 years. They're going to put most people out of work with AI, buy that print, and they're going to increase power production.
Dude, on that note, let me just share a couple of these while we're waiting, because this is some of the stuff I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
And it's exactly that. The world is waking up to this, guys. You saw this chart. I think TJ shared it this morning. Look at this. This isn't just a slight uptick. This is the highest it's ever been. This is Google searches for dollar debasement. And this is coming at a time where Bitcoin's firmly on the world stage. This is at the same time, remember that we're seeing what? An extra $1 trillion in 2 months. We talked about this 2 months ago where we had added $1 trillion in 2 months. So let's just say it sticks at that sort of level. Let's go a year out. That's an extra $6 to $7 trillion in the next year of debt that has to happen. And the U.S. cannot afford to pay its debt unless they do things to service that debt, which is printing more money and driving other assets up.
Kelly, seriously though, what's $7 trillion amongst friends? Okay, buddy. Okay, it's no big deal, right? There's no problem with that. Stay in fiat. Call me a loser. Call me an idiot. Even if Bitcoin falls by 50% at the rate of expansion of this debt, you're still winning in Bitcoin.
I mean, look at that parabola.
Right.
This sucks. But if you are in investments, this also, much like the money printing, ends up getting captured into investments. So while this sucks, and I think that they should stop doing this overwhelmingly, the fact of the matter is, if you're not in investments, and hopefully some of the right ones like Bitcoin, maybe even something like Vanguard or some other traditional stocks as well, if you want to do that, but capture this this debasement that's happening in front of our eyes in real time. It's insane what is going on right now.
Do you guys know that CZ is the most wealthy man in Canada?
Is he really?
By almost like a tenfold.
Nice. I mean, good for him. Good for him. And thank you, Brian Hardy. Shout out to you for dropping 10 Discover Crypto gift memberships. I also do got to take a little bit of a rally and a pat on the back. This morning, we put a perfect trade call in. People are printing money. We saw the pump coming. We have a link in our description for the Discover Crypto Trading Discord. It's free to get in. All you got to do is sign up with the link and use LBank or Blowfin. You can watch my morning market open streams. I do them often with Kelly, literally for free. People are printing money off of the market movements that we're seeing right now. We call them to a T, and they are absolutely going ballistic. Thank you very much for supporting us, Byron Hardy, because you make it possible for me and Kelly to come in here and consistently try to drive us down the right path. There is so
I pinned the top comment there on Discover Crypto and also on BitLab. I don't know if you have it on Blockchain Basement. That Discord link is pinned in the top. It's also in the description there. And you can join. You could be a paying member, or you could just sign up and trade with us in there. And you basically do that free. We share all kind of content in there, break down what's going on in the markets, calls, sometimes just emotional therapy for each other.
Yeah. And I can crash out in there more comfortably, right? It's a place for me to crash out too, and sometimes we just need that. We could talk about the problems, the fears, the uncertainty that's out there in the market, because it's real. I understand it. This is a very, very crazy time to be living in right now, and it's good to spend it with like-minded people. It's like a safe place where I can punch a hole in the wall. Yeah, absolutely, Crypto Stevo. And shout out to Crypto
Especially
Billy.
In times like these, you kind of need a community to reinforce some of the reasons you're in here, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I do want to say, make sure you're following Piano Matty B too. This is where you can follow him. He also has an OnlyFans. I mean, I'm just joking. You can follow him right here at Piano Matty B. Make sure you're following Drew as well, right here at Druth Crypto. Again, that is Druth at Druth Crypto.
Yes.
Myself here, Kelly Kellum. There's no dots, there's no ones, there's no I's, there's no 3 L's, just like it is. The reason I highlight these for you all is because many of you are already following us, but there's a lot of fake scam profiles out there. We want to just make sure you're following the right one. And then, of course, also make sure you're following Discover Crypto, which is, it's not, I keep forgetting. I can't.
It's all good. It's all good.
I can't, as I got the shared tab thing. I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate the shared tab nonsense. But yeah, this one was mine right here. But on the Discover Crypto one today, 5:30 p.m., we have our Thursday spaces that's going on. We got bar chart coming in last week.
Oh, really?
It's this evening. Boom.
You have bar chart coming on tonight?
Yeah.
Dude, that's a big freaking deal. So 5:30, you said, right?
5:30 p.m. today. I don't know where
vertigo going through all that.
Disappeared, but it's all good.
Now, this was kind of a funny story. Just a side note. I was on a show with a bunch of Solana trenchers last night, and they were like, why does Pump Fund suck so much? And no one's watching my content on Pump Fund. they're wondering why all these, essentially now poor Solana meme coiners that are addicted to trying to find that big come up with $5, they're not there. They're not watching. And so I had to go on stage and explain to them what they should do to kind of increase their exposure and actually become a streamer. And they're like, why what is this idiot that doesn't even have more than 10,000 followers telling me what to do with my channel? I was like, okay, I run with Blockchain Basement, Discover Crypto. I host for Mario in the Fall. I have all these, and they're like, I'm sorry, bro. I'm just subscribed to every single one of those channels. And they realize that they know very, very little about content creation. All they know is how to be shock jocks and push people down the roadway that they want to get them involved with for whatever next scam token that there is that they're coming out with. And so I'm reading the chat. I want to ban everybody right now. This is the post, though.
Yeah, here's the 5:30 and the links there. We're going to put the link out again when we get closer to it. But bar chart, incredible. Zach's great. Sammy Loyal, long time. Here we go. He's live.
Let's go.
All right, let's see. Everybody, I want you all to commentate on what Pete Hegseth is thinking. Just joke about what you think he's thinking as he's listening to Trump talk.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Please.
Give us a 1 in chat if the sound's working good too.
Oh, it's a great honor to have all my friends here. It's like old home week. What a job you're doing. And thank you very much for that. We want to begin by thanking the people that have done such a great job at the White House. They have been doing really incredible work during a shutdown. I don't even know if they're supposed to be working, but they wouldn't miss a day. So I just want to thank everybody for that very much. And we're here today to discuss a sweeping, unprecedented, and historically successful operation that my administration has carried out in recent weeks to arrest, prosecute, and permanently remove members of foreign drug cartels from American soil. And the people gathered around this table are the ones that are doing it, and in this room. Some of them sitting a little behind. Some of them, I'm surprised they're not actually at the table. You people should be very insulted by that. But you've done a great job back there. On my first day in office earlier this year, I signed an executive order to officially designate the drug cartels and savage transnational gangs as foreign terrorist organizations. It was my honor to do so. And on that same day, I also signed an order directing the creation of the Homeland Security Task Force to bring together all federal, state, and local partners to achieve the national policy goal of eliminating the cartel presence in America once and for all. And the results are, and it's early, and the results are spectacular. Led by ICE and the FBI, this task force includes the Department of Justice, the Department of War, DHS, the intelligence community, ATF, the DEA, the U.S. Marshals, and the state and local agencies in every part of our country. Other than that, we don't include too many people. That's a hell of a group, isn't it? Huh? When you think of it, that's not a group you want against you. Certainly not at one time. In addition to the task force members, we're pleased to be joined by representatives of law enforcement at every level, the highest level, actually, but every level, including National President of the Fraternal Order of Police, Patrick Yos. Where's Patrick? Patrick, thank you, Patrick. Thank you for the endorsement, too. That really hit it off. I would have gotten 98% anyway, but it was still good to have your endorsement. Thank you, Patrick. I don't forget those things. President of the National Sheriff's Association, Chris West. Chris? Thank you, Chris, very much. Great, good job. Major Cities Chief Association Executive Director, Laura Cooper. Laura, thank you, Laura, very much. Major County Sheriffs of America Executive Director, Megan Noland. Megan, thank you. Thank you very much. And President of the National Border Patrol Council, my friend, and a very good speaker, by the way. Whenever he gets up and speaks, I say, that guy can really speak. I don't know. I don't want him to run for office. I want him to stay where he is. Paul Perez. Paul. Thank you, Paul. Where is Paul? Hi, Paul. What are you doing over there, Paul?
Paul.
Good job. Good speaker you are, though, Paul. I mean it too. You've made some incredible speeches, and all from the heart too, right? Some great ones. Today, you'll hear details from my national security and homeland security teams about the extraordinary historic achievements of this new Homeland Security Task Force since it became fully operational last month in all 50 states. The job they're doing. What we inherited from this past administration is like disgraceful. In a matter of weeks, the task force has made the largest number of arrests of cartel leaders, operatives, and gang members in American history, more than 3,000 and counting. That includes members of the ultra-violent New Generation Cartel, the Sinaloa Cartel, the LNFM Cartel, MS-13 Cartel, and you know MS-13, the gang, and Tren de Aragua, another beauty. That's a group of
Aragua.
real garbage we have to deal with that we shouldn't have to deal with. These are, in addition to the massive numbers of dangerous criminals my administration arrested nationwide since January 20th, numbering over 120,000. It's a record, and 120,000 criminal arrests. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, for 4 long years before I took office, the last administration allowed the cartels and their operatives to frankly take over our country, to freely infiltrate America and all the communities nationwide. Along with transnational gangs, these groups have unleashed more bloodshed and killing on American soil than all other terrorist groups combined. These are the worst of the worst. It should now be clear to the entire world that the cartels are the ISIS of the Western Hemisphere, in addition to their monstrous violence, such as cutting off heads, burning their enemies alive, and burning innocent people alive, too, by the way. The cartels control large swaths of territory. They maintain vast arsenals of weapons and soldiers, and they use extortion, murder, kidnapping to exercise political and economic control. Thank you very much, Joe Biden, for allowing that to happen. Biden surrendered he just surrendered our country to the cartels. Don't worry, it gets better. We're taking it back. It's really fast at levels that nobody's ever seen before. But what we had to put up with, what we inherited, was just a disgrace. And while Biden was president, if he was president, I think the auto pen was president, not Biden. Nearly 100% of those who infiltrated our southern border did so because they were personally approved. They admitted they were just what happened, assisted by the most dangerous and violent criminal organizations anywhere on the planet. The worst people on the planet they allowed into our beautiful country. Under the Trump administration, we're finally treating the cartels as the core national security threat that they really are. The cartels are waging war on America, and just as I promised in the campaign, we're waging war on them like they've never seen before. All you have to do is turn on your television and you'll see what's happening to them. Past administrations have tried to mitigate this threat, and our objective is to eliminate it. We're not mitigating, we're eliminating. We're getting them out. The bad ones we're putting in prison. We hate to do that because that means we're stuck with them for 50 years or more. In recent weeks, our Homeland Security Task Force has seized more than 70 tons of deadly narcotics, along with more than 1,000 illegal guns. And that's just recently. This is already the most successful anti-cartel and anti-gang operation in American history, and it's just getting started. We have incredible people. A lot of them are in this room with us today, and it's an honor to have them. But we're going to not stop until the threat has been fully and completely eradicated. I want to thank task force members with us today, including a person who's doing a fantastic job, Attorney General Pam Bondi. Thank you, Pam. Thank you. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. Sounds so much better than Secretary of Defense. I don't know. Do you guys agree with that? I don't know. It sounds, we won the First World War, the Second World War. I always say everything before and everything in between. And then we got woke and we said, well, let's call it defense. I think we like it this way better. It's funny. That's something I thought it would be maybe controversial. And it's only controversial that we changed the name in the first place. It's not controversial at all. It's been unbelievably well accepted, Pete. Hasn't it, right? It's been pretty amazing. I thought it would be controversial. People want to have our country back. People want to do exactly what we're doing right now, and we're getting a lot of credit for it, and we should. I want to thank, though, Pete. You're doing a great job, Pete Hegseth. Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. Kristi, thank you very much. Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi, good job. And the heads of all of the law enforcement agencies all throughout the room. You're really amazing, the job you've done. To provide additional details on our mission, I would like also to ask General Bondi to say a few words, followed by Secretary Noem, Secretary Hegseth, Director Gabbard, Homeland Security Advisor Stephen Miller. Stephen, you're such a superstar, Stephen. They called Stephen the other day a very bad name, and I said, you should sue them, Stephen. I think he will. I hope he does. FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. And I just want to say it's an honor, the job we're doing, and these people are doing absolutely incredible. I'll just add a couple of things. In Memphis, as you know, where the numbers are down in half already, and it's only been about 2 weeks. You're doing a fantastic job there. Thank you. Incredible. Nobody thought it was possible. It was really it was a very sick city. It was horrible what happened there. People would go from, if you're on the board of FedEx, they would ride you 1 block to the hotel. They said you couldn't walk it because it was too dangerous. And they're already feeling better about it. But the best example right now is Washington, D.C. We went from one of the most unsafe places in the planet, I hate to say, but in this country, to a totally safe city. It's nothing's crime-free, I guess, but this is about as close to crime-free as you're going to get. And you guys have done an incredible job with that. Every one of you have worked so hard on this one, and it's our nation's capital. And people would go to the nation. They'd go from, I always say, Iowa, Indiana. They'd go from Florida. They'd come up. They want to see the monument. I want to see the Lincoln Memorial. I want to see one of the monuments, any one of them, and they'd go home in a coffin. But not anymore. It's not happening anymore. We haven't had that happen in a long time. It was averaging more than one a week, one person a week. Who would think that's possible? And it hasn't happened anymore. And we have a safe city. We have a city where the restaurants are booming. People are going out. Nobody's being mugged, hit over the head with a baseball bat. None of the stuff is gone. We took out 1,700 criminals, many of them career criminals, many of them given to us by Joe Biden and his ridiculous open borders policy. They came in from jails from all over the world, not just South America, from all over the world. Jails, they came in from mental institutions and insane asylums all over the world, drug dealers, and we got them the hell out of here. They're either that, or if they're so bad, as I said before, we put them in jail because we can't take a chance that they come back. But I want to just say that Washington, D.C. is such an example of what could be done. And now the same thing's happening in Memphis. We're just halfway through the process, and already the numbers are far superior, far better than what we would have thought at this time. And Chicago, I just saw the number. Last week, it was last weekend, 4 were murdered, 11 were shot. And then I have this guy Pritzker, is a very weak governor. Let me be nice. I'm going to be very nice. He's extremely weak. He's pathetic. I have Pritzker get up and say how great they're doing in Chicago. They're doing very poorly. So 4 were murdered, 11 were shot. I would say, and that was not a bad week for him. Okay, that was not a bad week. He's had somewhere 18 or 19 were murdered. And you know what his excuse was? Yeah, but that was a long weekend. Okay, can you believe it? He said that was a long weekend. He's bad. And the mayor is worse. I mean, that mayor is worse. Low IQ, very low IQ. And we don't need low IQ people. We need people that are going to take care. And I love Chicago, and I love those beautiful women, Black women, beautiful women wearing MAGA hats. And they're all over the place in Chicago. They want protection. They don't care if it's the National Guard, if it's the
Do we
Army,
believe the
Navy,
president?
Coast Guard, Marines. They'll take Space Force, okay? Space Force, send them in. They just don't want to be mugged, killed, raped, shot in the head, and we stop it. So we're going to be given a very special we're going to give Chicago very special care. As you probably know, maybe you heard, we were going to do a big surge in San Francisco, but got a great call from some incredible people, some friends of mine, very successful people. Mark, everybody knows him, and Jensen, everybody knows Jensen, NVIDIA, and others called me from San Francisco. And they said, we're working really, really hard with the mayor, and we're making progress. Would it be possible for you to hold off the surge? And I had 4 or 5 calls, and I think they're making progress of their own. That would be the greatest. I mean, if they could do that, that'd be great. And they have great confidence in those people. I mean, incredible confidence, some of the smartest business leaders. And they're working very well with the police department. They're doing a good job. So we are holding off that surge, everybody, and we're going to let them see if they can do it. I said, I think we can do it much faster. I know we can do it faster. I think we can do it better than anybody. We can take criminals out that they're not going to know about, and probably they don't have the legal authority maybe to do what we can. But I'm okay with it. And we're going to let San Francisco has the potential to be, it was a great, great city, has the potential very quickly to be a great city again. And these are the companies that are there that are all working. And those are the people that asked me, could you do away with the surge and let's see how it works? And we'll do that. If we need to, we'll do it. But it's possible that we won't need to. And we will be focusing on other places like Chicago. And we'll have Chicago taken care of very quickly. But just remember, 11 people shot, 4 people murdered, okay? And that was this weekend. And that was Chicago. And then you'll see Pritzker get up and talk about, well, we have it under control. They don't have it under control. Just the opposite, it's getting worse. So we'll take care of, as soon as we give the go-ahead, which is all I have to do is give the go-ahead. We won the big court case the other day on the National Guard. That was a
Is she
big
actually
case.
60?
Same thing with Portland.
59.
Speaking of that, because that's where we won it. But I mean, I looked the other night, Saturday night. Portland is like burning to the ground, and these people are saying it's just friendly stuff. The whole place is burning to the ground. So we'll take care of that one. That's like an insurrection more than it is anything else. That's crazy. Portland's crazy. And then you listen to these radical left people talking about it's really okay. You're seeing things. You're really seeing things. So we're going to take care of Chicago. We're going to take care of Portland. We're going to take care of Memphis. We're proud of D.C. There's nothing to take care of anymore, but we're not going to let it ever go bad. It's never going to happen again, our nation's capital. And with that, I'm just going to tell you that Pam Bondi has done a fantastic job. And Pam, would you say a few words, please?
Thank you, President Trump, and thank you for your leadership. And this is all about collaboration. And around this table, I'm looking around this table, we all work so well together. I don't think another administration in our nation's history has worked so well together. We talk constantly, Secretary Noem, Tulsi, Pete, constantly, but also all of our agencies working hand in hand, and that's why this is so successful. And these people around this table are working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, even though the Democrats have tried to shut down the government. Terry Cole, I'm laughing because you're around the clock, you're all over the world. Director Patel, you're unstoppable what you're doing around this country. Gowdy Serralta, U.S. Marshal, Rob Sakata and Dan Driscoll wearing your ATF hats. Rob, I was on the texting, Todd Blanche and I were on the texting you at 1 a.m. on cases. I mean, that's how committed all of these people are to just keeping all of our citizens safe.
We don't need the
And
ATF.
that's what it's all about. And
Get rid of them.
This project is the brainchild of Stephen Miller.
Get rid of
And
the ATF.
you are doing so much to keep our citizens safe, our kids safe, and get these drugs off our streets. Like Mayor of San Francisco and I are going to be meeting on fentanyl in a few weeks and working hand in hand on that. Secretary Noem spoke to him. But the results of this last month have been historic. As the president said, in the last month, think about this, 3,200, more than 3,200 violent gangs and drug dealers have been taken off the streets. Now, Director Patel and all of these agencies have also been working so hard on getting the leadership. but we are getting all the gang members off the streets and the drug dealers, Sinaloa, CJNG, MS-13, and more, TDA. 91 tons of drugs have been seized as a result of this task force. We tried to put this in perspective for you. This would be filling 4 18-wheelers for all the drugs just in the last month that have been taken off the streets. 58,000 kilos of cocaine. Think about a big backyard swimming pool. That would fill 1.5 swimming pools. Just the powder cocaine that has been removed, saving lives this last month, thanks to all of these people around the table. 2,300 kilos of fentanyl powder and 2.1 million fentanyl pills off the streets. And as the president said, more than 1,000 illegal guns. The Biden administration was, for way too long, all of these great law enforcement officers surrounding the table were not able to do their jobs. What they've said is now they've been uncuffed. They can do their jobs now. We've been watching transnational gangs grow in our country, become organized, set up infrastructure in all of our states, but no longer under President Trump. We are destroying the infrastructure, and we're no longer on defense. All of these great men and women are on offense, so they better get ready. We're dismantling the cartels, and we are taking the leaders into custody and all of the gangs. We are going to supercharge this work. This is not a pilot program. This is permanent. We are here to stay. And Secretary Hegseth, we couldn't do this without you and the Department of War. Thank you all so much for everything you're doing around this table, working tirelessly. And President Trump, thank you for giving them the ability to do it.
Thank you, Pam, very much. Thank you.
They arrested a bunch of NHL players too recently.
Mr. President, since the year 2000, we have lost over 1 million Americans to drugs, to overdoses, to these cartels that have proliferated that kind of a disease on our people and have gone to war with our next generation of Americans. When you signed the executive order that was protecting the American people from invasion, what you did is that you took these cartels and gangs that we've known for decades and you declared them to be what they really are,
NBA,
and that's
yeah.
terrorists. You declared war on them, and you didn't say we were just going to fight them. You said we were going to destroy them. And everybody around this table is so honored to be here to work with you to destroy these terrorists that have been killing Americans for years and getting rich off of it. I'm so proud of the work that was done just in the September surge. You referenced that earlier. We had over 400 operations that went down in those first 43 days of the Homeland Security Task Force in operations that brought, as Pam referenced, 3,200 terrorists to justice, got them off the streets. Sir, we also have had over precursors and chemicals that were brought in. We've had the work at the southern border. We've got Border Patrol here at the table with you. Fentanyl has been cut down by 50% coming into this country over our borders. We've continued to work not just nationally, but internationally and on our maritime borders as well. The ICE agents that have so much violence against them and threats against them, sir, they get up every day ready to work with this task force to be able to keep people safe. And then we've got Coast Guard, who's been doing just a ton of our incredible interdictions out on the seas and the waters in cooperation with operations that you've targeted in the Caribbean with the Department of War. And sir, I just want to thank you for the leadership you put at this table, for your cabinet members, for Stephen Miller, for putting this in place to make sure that what you did when you consolidated the Homeland Security Task Force, you took 1,000 other task forces that were already established in the federal government and you streamlined them into this room, into this group right here, so that we can look at each other in the face every day and say, what's our problem? How do we address it? How do we fix it? And then we go to work together with our arms linked to do exactly what you told us to do. And that's not just protect the American people from invasion, but to kill these terrorists. You gave us the task to eliminate them, destroy them, so that they can't destroy the next generation of Americans. So thank you, sir. Thank you for the people you put around this
Thank you
table.
very much. That's a great job. Thank you.
Eliminate.
Pete?
Yes, sir. Well, thank you, Mr. President, for your leadership. Chief, likewise, Tulsi and Todd and Dan and Pam and Christy and Stephen and Cash. I mean, I could go around the table. From the Department of War, we are thankful and grateful for the incredible effort that your agencies put in. And we could not be more proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with you, not superficially, not kind of over here, but front and center on the Homeland Security Task Force, right there with you. Because our department has spent over 2 decades defending other homelands, and we're very proud to be defending our own. And if you talk to the troops down, say, on the southwest border, Mr. President, morale is sky high and continues to be, because they're proud to be defending their own communities, their own state, and their own country. So when that executive order was signed, the mission was clear: protecting the American people against invasion. And so the Department of War went straight to the southwest border. We still have 10,000 troops there. We have national defense areas. We're standing alongside the Border Patrol, and we've locked that border down, 100% control of the southwest border. We stopped the invasion. And then we're proud to be going on the offense, counter-cartel operations. And it's not counter-cartel, as was mentioned. These are designated terrorist organizations, foreign terrorist organizations. Our generation spent the better part of 2 decades hunting Al-Qaeda, hunting ISIS. Well, as the president said, this is the ISIS, this is the Al-Qaeda of the Western Hemisphere. They intimidate, they terrorize, they extort, they poison the American people. The president's right. Every boat we strike is 25,000 Americans whose lives are saved because of the drugs that were headed in our direction. So our message to these foreign terrorist organizations is: we will treat you like we have treated Al-Qaeda. We will find you, we will map your networks, we will hunt you down, and we will kill you. And you've seen that evidence in the maritime domain, whether it's in the Caribbean or in the Pacific with the last 2 strikes. We know exactly who these people are. We know what networks they work with, what foreign terrorist organizations they're a part of. We know where they're going, where they originated from, what they're carrying. And they know we know. And that will soon start to change the calculus of these boats. So the critique of this is, of course, as often is the case, wrong. We know our authorities. It's locked tight, and we're going to treat them like foreign terrorist organizations on the offense. So the Department of War is not going to degrade or just simply arrest. We're going to defeat and destroy these terrorist organizations to defend the homeland on behalf of the American people, making the jobs of law enforcement safer in the process, making the communities of Americans safer in the process. We think it's a very core mission of the Department of War, and we're proud to be here, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Pete. Thank you. Tulsi, please.
Yes, thank you,
Oh
Mr.
God,
President.
Tulsi
The
Gabbard.
key reason that
Let's
you are
go.
hearing about these incredible effects is, number one, the team that you've assembled here and the leadership and the tone that you have set, first and foremost, about keeping the American people safe. The intelligence community plays a critical role in being able to support our law enforcement at the federal, state, and local level to make sure that they are armed with actionable intelligence
I'm gonna
to be able
ban
to
this
actually
chat.
go after
Everywhere.
those who threaten the safety and security of the American people. Mr. President, under your leadership, for the first time, there is a newly created National Intelligence Fusion Cell at the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, National Counterterrorism, that has a very simple purpose: to make sure that we have two-way intelligence sharing of actionable information between the intelligence community and law enforcement. I want to talk briefly about 3 successes that we've had just here in the last few weeks, Mr. President, through the success of this interagency fusion cell. Just this last week, our National Counterterrorism Center supported, through actionable intelligence to both U.S. law enforcement as well as Mexican law enforcement, the arrest of a Sinaloa cartel boss, El Plato, in Juarez, Mexico, as well as his top 3 money launderers. In a separate and recent successful interagency operation, NCTC worked closely with the U.S. Marshals Service that led to the arrest of another dangerous Sinaloa cartel member responsible for tracking a huge amounts of cocaine and hundreds of thousands of dollars in this single incident with drug proceeds through his network. And I'll say the last example I'll share is probably the most insidious, was providing intelligence to the Mexican law enforcement that led to the arrest of a CJNG cartel-affiliated baby trafficker called La Diabla. Her whole money-making operation was centered around luring pregnant women, performing illegal C-sections, harvesting organs, and
Jesus.
selling newborn babies.
Dang.
Mr. President, it's your leadership that has made all of this possible. I can tell you, in
We
the
need
midst of this
Jesus
government
back.
shutdown, our folks, like everyone around this table, are working 24/7 without pay and eager to get after this because they believe in your leadership and the mission that you have presented to them.
Talk
Thank you, Mr.
China,
President.
man. I
I'll
want to
hand
hear
this
about
off
the
to,
tariffs. I want to hear
Homeland
about the
Security
economy.
Advisor Stephen Miller,
Right.
the leader of this task force.
Now, that is so dark what you just laid
Let me
out, dude.
just
This-
say, Mr. President, that this country was going to die without you. This country was going to actually die without you. That's what we were facing in 2024. We've been invaded for 4 years. Our communities were sinking. Our public safety had gone to zero. Cartels were running entire communities. Sex trafficking, child trafficking, labor trafficking was out of control. Overdoses were out of control. The cartels were claiming more and more territory. City services were buckling. This was a country on the verge of dying, and you alone saved it. And when you stepped forward originally in 2016, you started the movement to make America great again. And that means make America great again in every way. And that means safety and prosperity and peace and freedom from cartels and crime and gangs. And your vision and your leadership in declaring war on the drug cartels is the single most successful public safety initiative in American history. And I need the media to understand what President Trump has done. People have been talking about drug cartels for longer than I've been alive. And everyone has just taken for granted that they can't be touched or stopped. They're too big, they're too powerful, they're too evil, they're too murderous. They can operate with impunity. And in just 9 months, President Trump is the only American leader, not just in our lifetimes, but ever, to actually take the fight to the drug cartels, to actually seek their eradication. And it is happening. And so while the Democrats are shutting the government down and fighting for free health care for illegal aliens, look at what President Trump has assembled here. He's assembled a team under his vision, direction, and leadership that is saving hundreds of thousands of lives, hundreds of thousands of lives. And only President Trump could have done this. And I will say one last thing, which is that his courage has been an inspiration to everyone else in this room. There are people in this room, I'm looking at, for example, at Todd Lyons, who have been relentlessly doxxed and harassed and threatened. But when they see President Trump's courage, what he's been through for 10 years to save America, when they came after his family, his businesses, his safety, his freedom, everyone at this table knows we can give whatever it takes to get the mission done. So President Trump, thank you for your leadership, your boldness, your courage, and your vision. We're honored to serve underneath you.
Well, I want to thank you, Stephen. And I have to say that, I've been making the rounds. I'm leaving tomorrow for some very big meetings, including with the president of China, where I think we're going to come out very well and everyone's going to be very happy. But everybody said the same thing. A year ago, we had a dead country. We were a dead country. We really were, in a lot of ways, not just this. We were dead as doornails on this, but we were a country that was in serious trouble and beyond that. And we have the hottest country anywhere in the world right now. The whole world is talking about it. We have the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're going to clear up this crime in our cities. We can do it quickly, too. They showed how quickly we could do it in D.C. It was a real bad place. It was a real mess. Dirty, filthy, disgusting, graffiti all over the place, tents on every ounce of parks that we had. Just disgusting. And I rode around last weekend. I rode around the city. I felt very safe in that car, but, I would have done it without it. I wouldn't need that car so much anymore, I will tell you. But the place was clean. We've started that also, not only law and order, but the cleanliness is important. I think cleanliness is almost a part of law and order. If you see dirty, disgusting streets and potholes all over the place and railings falling down and graffiti all over the beautiful statuary marble columns, those gorgeous columns where they had graffiti, it's all gone. And I think it's a part of it. I really do. I think it's a big part of it. But we have a city that we can be proud of. We're going to be that way with every city we have. That's why with San Francisco, I wish them luck, but we could do it so much faster. I told the mayor, I love what you're doing. I respect it, and I respect the people that are doing it. They're the biggest people in the country. They're the biggest people in the world. A lot of the high tech. Some people like them, some people don't, but they're smart, and they want to do it. And I said, I am so honored to let you do it. And if it doesn't work out, we'll do it for you very quickly. But I just want to thank the people around this table are amazing. Cash, please go ahead.
Mr. President, I'll just keep it short, but I think what the media should realize is the amount of courage it takes to do this. And you led that mission. You led it during your campaign, and you brought it to the American people I think the media should focus on some of these numbers the Attorney General just riled off. Those aren't numbers, those are lives. Lives saved by the millions, Enough, excuse me, enough fentanyl to kill over 200 million Americans, gone, evaporated off our streets permanently. Your vision to safeguard American freedoms and our children and our future is the most courageous thing I've ever seen a president of the United States ever do. And your ability to marshal it out in 8 months, these statistics would have taken other administrations decades. And the partnership that you see around the table, I just want to, sum it up with the following. When I call these folks around the table, when I call our state and local law enforcement partners who have been absolutely critical to this mission, when Stephen Miller called me and said, we're going to create the Homeland Security Task Force and the FBI and DHS are going to co-lead it, I said, absolutely. The country's been yearning for this and needing it. And the one thing I see different than any other administration is when I call these people, they pick up. I don't get a voicemail. When I make an ask, they answer. And the same is true. And so the FBI is playing a pivotal role in your administration in helping lead out this mission. And Stephen's vision has finally come to life. And instead of attacking the people at this table, maybe the media should go out there and talk to the lives that have been saved forever and the communities that have been safeguarded, because it takes courage to do that. It takes courage to implement that plan. And it takes a president and President Trump to put a leadership team like this together. We are actual friends. And I know the media doesn't want to call us that, but we do that. We do hang out. We do work together. It's a 24/7, 365 mission that doesn't turn off, Mr. President. And as Stephen said, we're inspired by your leadership, and this country's thankful for these 8 months. And I can't wait to see what the next 4 years looks like.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Kesha. Great job. Todd, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. The number that I think matters, over 3,266 terrorists have been taken off the streets in 2 months. And for each of those arrests, there's anywhere from between 4 to 20 law enforcement agents, federal, state, and local, executing those arrests. And that means every one of them are putting their lives on the line to make these arrests, to make our communities safer. And so what I will say to them is thank you. But also what I will say to them is that to the extent that there are politicians, as recently as today, suggesting they are doing something wrong. We have
I'm going to have to
governors,
ban Kelly now.
district attorneys, mayors, and even
Why?
congresswomen suggesting that our federal law enforcement and the state and local law enforcement that are helping them are doing something wrong. That is disgusting.
I think that's a
and
native
something
flag
that
up
we
here
will
in
not
Canada.
tolerate.
Yeah.
That every day Attorney General Bondi and I talk with all of our partners, making sure that they know
Oh my
that if
God.
any one of our federal agents, our state or local agents working under the HSTF banner are even touched by any of these terrorists or rioters, they will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. When politicians aid these terrorists by trying to give them comfort or protection or suggesting that somehow our men and women are doing the wrong thing, same problem. We will not tolerate it, Mr. President. So
Markets
thank
are
you to
dumping
all of
now.
our state and
Let's see if it
local
dumps.
men and women that are helping us, and our federal law enforcement officers that are literally putting their lives on the line every single day. We will always protect you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Todd. A really good job you're doing too. Thank you. Any questions, maybe pertaining?
Mr. President.
How about pertaining to this for a little while? And
This is where things get out of hand.
Would you have any questions of these incredible people?
Buckle up.
Mr.
Yeah, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. Good to see you. If I could just ask both of you, including Secretary Hegseth, there's reporting the U.S. just sent B-1 bombers near Venezuela to ramp up some military pressure there. Is that accurate? And can you tell us more about that
No,
mission?
it's not accurate. No, it's false. But we're not happy with Venezuela for a lot of reasons, drugs being one of them, but also they've been sending their prisoners into our country for years under the Biden administration. Not anymore. We have a closed border. We had actually nobody for the last 4 months, I guess 5 months. They say they report nothing. They report zero. I don't know if that can be possible, but we'll accept it, right, fellas? But we have closed borders. We have people coming into our country, but they only come in legally. We have the strongest borders we've ever had. We might have the strongest borders of almost any nation right now. And that's a big difference from what it was 2 years ago when everybody was pouring in. But we're very unhappy with Venezuela because of what they've done. They've emptied their prisons into our country. Nobody can do that. Only a stupid person would have accepted it. And that's what we had running our country, very stupid people. So we're not happy with Venezuela, I will tell you. Yeah.
Mr. President,
Go ahead.
thank you, President
Yeah,
Trump.
go ahead. You okay?
Yes, on fentanyl.
I'm saying, we're going to lose
Sorry
him.
about that. On
We have
fentanyl,
some
President Trump.
good medical help right over there. That's all right.
On fentanyl, according to CDC data, nearly 330,000 Americans died over the past 5 years from fentanyl. That's 1 in every 1,000 Americans who died.
It's more than that, but that's
and
all right.
Yes,
It's
I
more.
know you think it's even more.
I'll be discussing that with President
Yes,
Xi.
so that's actually my question.
I figured it
I
was.
was wondering, since it mostly comes from China and has caused such carnage in the U.S.,
Yeah.
what are you going to say to convey the seriousness? And also a second question for you or Secretary Hegseth. Is there any evidence that China is now smuggling fentanyl through Venezuela to bypass U.S. and Mexican port controls?
They are doing that, yes. But they are paying right now a 20% tariff because of fentanyl. That's billions and billions of dollars that they're paying. We're actually on November 1st, the tariff on China goes to 157%, which is record-setting territory. And we don't want that because it's not sustainable for them. They can't sustain that. We don't want them to have to go through that. So I'm meeting with President Xi, and I would say we have some big issues like with the farmers and various other things. But the first question I'm going to be asking him about is fentanyl. And if you think about it, they make $100 million. Think of this. They make $100 million selling fentanyl into our country, 100 million. They lose $100 billion with the 20% tariff. So it's not a good business proposition. It's $100 billion approximately that they have to pay. It's a big penalty to make 100 million. So I think they want to do something. They want to put it on the list. It's on the list. It's one of the things we're talking about, and I'm putting it right at the front of the list. So they pay a very big penalty for doing that, and I don't think they want to be doing it. And we'll see what happens at the end of next week, because I'll be meeting next week, as you know, along with we're stopping in Malaysia, we're stopping in South Korea, we're stopping in Japan. I'm meeting with President Xi actually in South Korea. So it'll be the first thing on the list. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, on the drug boats, sir, has there been any discussion about capturing one so that you can show the amount of narcotics?
We know everything about them. Yeah, Jennifer. We know everything about them. We know where they're coming from, who they're coming with, generally who's in the boat. I'll let Pete discuss it a little bit, but they have incredible intelligence. And, you know, usually when you see 5 engines, I've never even seen that before, but when you see 5 engines on a boat going about 65 miles an hour, loaded up with white powder in silver cases, generally speaking, that's not a good sign. They're not going fishing, right? And you don't see any fishing rods, right? So, Pete, I'll let you discuss that a little bit, please.
Well, yes, sir. Likewise, generally, you don't see fishing in submarines either, sir. So the U.S. military, as I mentioned, nobody better in the world at mapping networks, identifying who's connected to who inside terrorist organizations. It's just the media is used to hearing that when it pertains to Afghanistan and Iraq and ISIS and Al-Qaeda. But if you reframe how you understand the world in our own hemisphere, that's exactly what these foreign terrorist organizations are. And so we will track them, we will map them, we will network them, and we will hunt them and kill them because they're trying to, and they are killing and poisoning the American people. And inside that, we have all the license necessary, all the authorities necessary to take these kinetic strikes, and we'll continue to take them.
And we've been, you know, just to add, because I think it's important, we've been capturing them for years. You know, it's not like, gee, let's capture one. We've been doing that for years, for 25 years we've been doing it, not at a level like we're doing it now. I mean, just with the hits we're hitting, but we have much more intensity than any administration's ever had. But we've been capturing these boats for years, and they get back into the system and they do it again and again and again. And they don't fear that. They have no fear. The thing I can tell you right now, it's very hard to find any floating vessel right now on the Pacific or in the Gulf. And I would like to call it by its official name, the Gulf of America. Another little triumph of the Trump administration. I said for years, I said, why do we call it the Gulf of Mexico? It's 93%. The shoreline is 93% ours. I never understood that. So I made that change. I never realized how easy that was going to be, other than, I guess, AP fought us in court, and the judge said, but that's the name. And actually, they were sort of semi-prohibited from even covering us after that. It was pretty amazing. But we have the Gulf of America, and there are very few boats, very, very few boats. Not even fishing boats, to be honest. I don't want to do that to the fishing industry, but it's been so effective. And our sea drugs, as they call them, they use the term sea drugs, the drugs coming in by sea, are like 5% of what they were a year ago, less than 5%. So now they're coming in by land, and even the land is concerned because I told them that's going to be next. You know, the land is going to be next, and we may go to the
They're called
Senate,
sea
we may go to
drugs.
the
That's what I've been
Congress,
told.
and
We call them sea drugs.
tell them about it. But I can't imagine they'd have any problem with it. I think, in fact, while we're here, I think it's a good
Drugs
idea.
that come
You go
in
to
by the
Congress,
sea,
you tell
right?
them about it. What are they going to do? Say,
Oh,
gee, we don't want
got
to
it.
stop drugs pouring in. They're killing 300,000 people a year. I think that's the real number, 300,000 people a year. So between that and my discussion with President Xi, I think we have never made progress like we've made. The sea drugs are almost dead, and they can't come in that fast from the land. And the land drugs are much more dangerous for them. It's going to be much more dangerous. You'll be seeing that soon. So that's the way it is. Yeah. Go ahead, please. Yeah, go ahead, please. With the glasses, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Good.
I wanted to ask, what's your reaction to Representative Dan Goldman calling on NYPD to arrest ICE agents who he says are acting illegally? He says they are illegally assaulting people and illegally detaining people at immigration courts in New York.
Well, you know, I know Dan, and Dan's a loser. You understand. He's a guy that doesn't have what it takes. He's been trying so hard, and they're exhausted. I mean, it's so ridiculous, right? A suggestion like that. So, you know, they're just trying so hard, and it's not working. They've even now started imitating me, of all people. They want to imitate me, and they start using foul language, but they use too much of it. You know, you can't use the F word 7 times in one sentence. It doesn't work. It might work once every 7 news conferences, but you can't do it. You can't do it 7 times in one sentence. So I don't know. They're really they're in big trouble, that party. Go ahead.
Some alleged smugglers have survived some of these recent strikes and been sent back to their home country. If they're terrorists, why not just arrest and detain them?
Go ahead.
2 points on that. First, when I served in Iraq in 2005 and 2006, we used to, in sort of a gallows humor way, talk about the Iraqi catch and release program, the reality that we would catch a lot of people, hand them over, and then they would be recycled back through, and we'd have to recapture them or attack them again. And that's why changing the dynamic and actually taking kinetic strikes on these boats ought change the psychology of these foreign terrorist organizations. To those 2 that survived the shot on the semi-submersible, think again, compared to Iraq and Afghanistan, the vast majority of people that we captured on the battlefield, we handed over to the home country. Did we always like how it shaped out? Sometimes we did, sometimes we did not. But 99% would go to the Afghan authorities or the Iraqi authorities. So in this case, those 2, they were treated by American medics and handed immediately over to their countries where they came from, hopefully to face prosecution, which is a very standard way of handling something like this.
And you'll do that with future survivors, anyone else's
We've got protocol of how we'll handle it.
Not that guy. He's so hopeless. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yesterday, there was a vote at the Knesset on annexing the West Bank. Do you see it as a challenge to your peace efforts?
Could you say that louder, please?
Yes, yesterday there was a vote at the Knesset in Israel on annexing the West Bank. Do you see it as a challenge to your peace efforts?
Will you answer that, please? Because I cannot understand the words you say.
said a vote.
Where are you? Where are you from? Where are you from? You're from France. Beautiful accent, but we can't understand what you're saying. Huh?
It's so based.
The West Bank is. Don't worry about the West Bank. Israel's not going to do anything with the West Bank. Okay? Don't worry about it. Is that your question? They're not going to do anything with the West Bank. Don't worry about it. Israel's doing very well. They're not going to do anything with it. Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you so much. Thank
Thank you, President Trump. Are there any safeguards in place to protect Americans from fentanyl and cartels when you leave office in 2028? Any protocols that could be put in place in case a future administration comes in that wants open borders? And I also have a question for the Secretary of War as well after your answer,
Well,
if
the
that's
biggest
okay.
thing we can do is make sure they don't come in, because open borders, they would destroy. It's amazing that our country is even surviving with what we went through, coming in by the millions and coming in from the wrong places. You know, I know all these people that run these countries, and they're smart. They're very street smart, and they're not sending their best. You know, they're not sending. They're taking them out of their prisons and their mental institutions, as I say over and over again. They're the drug dealers. They're the drug addicts. They're people that don't work. I mean, the best of them are people that don't work. They don't work. They're on welfare, their form of welfare, which is tiny. You know what their form of welfare? They give you a piece of paper. They give you nothing. But they want people that work. They don't let those people come out because they want those people. You know, they cherish those people. Those are the people that make their country run. They give us all of the people that don't work and are murderers. 11,843 murderers came in. 11,800, many of them committed, more than 50% committed more than one murder. Now, why do we want them? Why would Biden and that group of thugs that he had working for him, why would they accept these people? Why would he accept? Nobody understands it. You know, they say maybe they wanted the vote, but I did great with the Hispanic vote, but these are people from all over the world. Why would they do it? So one question, no matter what I do, I can't, you always like to know the opponent. You have an opponent. What are they getting at? And usually you can. Why would they allow 20 million, maybe 25 million people into this country, almost all of which, but most of which should not have been allowed into our country? It's one of the great enigmas. What they've done to this country should never be forgotten. In history, should never, ever be forgotten. And now it looks like we're going to have a communist mayor in New York. That'll be a lot of fun. But remember this, they have to go through the White House. Yeah, please, go ahead.
The founder of Binance. Can you explain why you chose to pardon him, and did it have anything
There
to
we
do
go.
with his involvement in your
Which one? Who is
family's?
that?
The founder of Binance. He has
Oh,
a involvement in your own
The
family's
recent
crypto
one, yes.
business.
I believe we're talking about the same person because I do pardon a lot of people. I don't know. He was recommended by a lot of people. A lot of people say that. Are you talking about the crypto person? A lot of people say that he wasn't guilty of anything. He served 4 months in jail, and they say that he was not guilty of anything. That what he did. Well, you don't know much about crypto. You know nothing about. You know nothing about nothing. You fake news. But let me just tell you that he was somebody that, as I was told, I don't know him. I don't believe I've ever met him.
Is this a roast?
But I've been told by a lot of support. He had a lot of support, and they said that what he did is not even a crime. It wasn't a crime. That he was persecuted by the Biden administration.
Plus one in chat.
And so I gave him a pardon at the request of a lot of very good people.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
please. Yes, Daniel.
President, thank you so much.
This is the kind of question I like.
Yeah,
right here.
the numbers from this task force are jaw dropping. I wanted to know, this is a question for you and both Stephen, since it was said this is your brainchild. What are the lessons to be learned from the success of the task force, and what are your continued goals with this task force now that you have about 3 years left?
Well, the best thing we have going is we have such talent around this table. I could go over every one of these men and women, and we have unbelievable talent. They've got the naturals, you know, like somebody that hits a baseball or a golf ball or a, you know, that you see more, it's more evident. It's beautiful because it's sports. You can tell somebody right away, are they good or are they not? These people are the most talented people at what they do. And when we started talking about this, Stephen and all of us, it seems so easy. What is surprising to me is how quickly we can straighten out a large city, a big city, a mean city, a city that's sick, that got very sick with guns all over the place, with bullets shooting all over, where you take your life in your hands if you go out and buy a loaf of bread. That's not America. That's not our country. And those people don't care how you do it. They just want it done. They really do. You know, when you go to the people in the street, they don't know. Is it National Guard? They just want it done. They want to be safe. And we've gained a great following of Americans, real Americans, people that want to be safe. But I think the biggest thing we say is we have tremendous talent. We were able to recognize, like a football team, like a baseball team, we were able to recognize the talent. And the talent is largely in this room for the whole country. It's largely in this room. There's really nothing like it. And that's why I think we had DC done, not perfectly, but pretty much done, at least normalized in 12 days. When you say 12, would you say 12 days? On the 12th day, it felt different. And then, we took a lot of bad people out, never to come back again. Then most of them never to come back again. But there's great talent and there's also great courage. I've been watching what goes on, and then you have the radical left lunatics, and what's that all about? I mean, they're fighting us because we want to stop crime. Where did these people come from? They're paid money. I guess they're paid a lot of money. But like I saw that ridiculous march the other day, I say, these people are not representative of our country. And not all of them, of course, but many of them are total lowlifes. These are lowlifes. These are people that are paid agitators, and they're not representative of our country. So I don't know. I can just tell you that our country has tremendous spirit right now. You know that better than anybody because you cover it well. But we have a lot of people that are very happy right now with the direction. They did a poll the other day. The direction of our country is better than it's been in 37 years. And I'm upset because I think it should be better than that. I actually said we should be better than that. So, thank you very much for your question. Brian?
Someone clip that crypto
Thank
part.
you, Mr. President. You guys
Clip
have done
that.
an amazing job in
Thank
Memphis.
you.
Some of those numbers are staggering. We've gotten message on social media wanting to thank you for that. But I think, can you talk about the number of missing children
Yeah.
you guys have discovered in Memphis? That's amazing.
Well, it's hundreds of thousands were lost through Biden and the Biden administration. And we are getting a lot of them back, but they're either dead, they're slaves, they're captured in some form. But think of it, hundreds of thousands we're talking about. Not even believable. And they came in through the border. They were sold. They were bargained for. And this was all Biden, meaning Biden and Obama, the same mentality, frankly. I think it's the same mentality. Let me tell you, Barack Hussein Obama was a lousy president. A lot of bad things happened. Remember when they used to talk about Trump with the jail cells? Well, he built the jail cells for the children. He built those jail cells. Remember that came out? But sir, they were built in 2014. You remember when that came out? After me going through that stuff for about 2 weeks, and then they found out it was Barack Obama that built those jail cells.
Yes.
No, these people they were bad leaders. I hope we don't have it again. I hope we don't have it again because, our country's come back a long way, but it can only withstand so much, and we don't want to ever go through that again. We never want to have open borders again. We don't want to have men playing in women's sports. We don't want to have transgender for everybody. We don't want that. We want to have a great country with low interest rates, nice housing, great education, a strong military, the basics. Yes, please.
The basic. Very basic.
Last night's New York City mayoral debate,
Oh,
Zohran Mamdani said
God.
he would close Rikers Island if elected. What kind of impact would that have on public safety?
Well, it's not good. I guess it's not a very nice place, but you need it. You need something. You have a lot of additional people in New York City that should not have been here. They came here through the open border, through Biden's. I don't know how they even do it. New York City's always been tight for money. And then they spend, $8 billion and nobody complains about it on people that just showed up and they just came out of nowhere. Where did they get the money? All of a sudden they have money. I tell you what, we have to keep our prisons very fair and very safe, but you get a lot of criminals. We have a lot of additional criminals. I used to talk about it. They used to say, well, only good people come in from foreign countries. I said, that's not right. I didn't know that for a fact, but it had just started, right? The open borders and people flowing in by the millions. They make our criminals look like the nicest people on earth. That's the only good thing. They make our criminals look like nice people. They are the meanest, the most vicious. Tren de Aragua, You don't get any sicker. They cut people's fingers off because they called the cop. Did you call the cop? Yes. They cut off his finger so he can't call the cop anymore. And then they said, next time we're going to cut off your hand if you cut, because they took over his apartment in Colorado. You know, Colorado, they took over a town, then they took over another town, and you have a weak governor over there. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing, so he lets it go on. But we're getting them out of here. We're getting them all out. They're going back to lots of, not just Venezuela, they're going back to lots of countries. Venezuela would be one, however. Yeah, please.
Real about Colorado, man.
Thank you,
A lot
Mr.
of people
President.
don't.
A moment ago, you said that if Secretary Hegseth went to Congress and briefed them on the operations
No, we
against
will
these-
go, I
You,
said.
you will go. And
We
it would
will
be
go. We're
difficult
gonna
for them to
go.
object.
I don't see any Lawson going. No reason not to. You know, they'll always complain, oh, we should have gone. So we're going to definitely, I'd like to just tell you, let's go. We go. We're going to
President-
tell them what we're going to do, and I think they're going to probably like it, except for the radical left lunatics.
And Mr. President, if you are declaring war against these cartels and Congress is likely to approve of that process, why not just ask for a declaration of war?
Well, I don't think we're going to necessarily ask for a declaration of war. I think we're just going to kill people that are bringing drugs into our country. Okay? We're going to kill them. You know, they're going to be like dead. Okay. Yeah. Yes, red hair. Beautiful red hair.
Thank you. I'll tell my hairdresser that. She'll love it. This is a question for both you and the Secretary of War, Mr. Hegseth.
Who are you with?
I'm with the Center Square. We're a newswire service. With everything that's going on between the narco terrorists in the Caribbean, and then also with more Chinese, Iranian, Russian ships also taking part in Venezuela. Are you have any plans of expanding operations out of Roosevelt Roads and in fact placing some home porting some ships there?
Yeah, go ahead, Pete.
We're familiar with the location that you're referring to, and we'll make sure that we're properly displaced in order to deal with the contingency we're dealing with there, and also any ways in which other countries would attempt to be involved also. So we can walk and chew gum. We're definitely keeping our eyes on near peer adversaries at the same time, but we think sending a message on these cartels, these narco terrorists, is an important inside our hemisphere, which for far too long, other presidents, as the president pointed out, they've ignored our own backyard and allowed other countries to increase their influence here, which only threatens the American people. We're changing that.
One big thing that has happened, though, because you mentioned expansion and expand our efforts. So when I was running for office, second term, everybody was talking about the fact that nobody wanted to join the military, nobody wanted to join the great police forces. You know, they didn't want to join New York's finest or any of our police forces. They didn't want to join anything having to do almost like with the country with the uniform. We are setting records with the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Space Force, Coast Guard. We're setting records. We've never had anything like it. And I'll tell you when it started, November 5th. We didn't even have to wait till January 20th. They saw spirit. And now we have people coming in that are, it's unbelievable. And if we wanted to increase our military force, if we wanted to increase any one of these, including police forces, they can now get men. People didn't want to be policemen and women. They didn't want to be firemen and women. They didn't want to go into the military. We were having tremendous recruiting problems, and now we're setting records. We literally, last year at this time, you were doing stories that the recruitment was a disaster. We couldn't get men and women to go into the military. Now we have such an overabundance. We've never had, I mean, it's, as I understand it, it's like record-setting recruitment. This is in less than a year. It's been amazing. So this is a good time to expand if we want to do it. And I think we should. I think we should. And we probably will. Yeah, please. Yeah. Blue.
Questions for you. First for you
Blue.
and Secretary Hegseth. Is the administration supportive of sending National Guardsmen to cities for the express purpose of aiding deportation and immigration enforcement efforts?
To expand deportation efforts?
Sending National Guardsmen to U.S. cities for the express purpose of aiding deportation and immigration enforcement
What
efforts.
we've done so far is stand alongside federal law enforcement in every way, facilities and personnel, but also we have We have a great deal of lift inside the military. We're able to move assets in a way that no other aspect of the U.S. government can. And so where we can rapidly assist with mass deportations, we have been happy to do that.
One more question, if I may. Is the administration at all supportive of potential measures to crack down or regulate or even ban apps that track ICE agents' locations?
What do you mean by that?
Like specific apps that are used to track the location of ICE agents?
I guess we'll do that. I'm not a big app guy. I'm not into that too much. I think Pam might be it. Let's go.
Yes.
Give me a good answer
Yes.
there.
Yes, these organizations, President Trump, are coming in and their apps to track our federal law enforcement officers, and it jeopardizes their lives, where they're going to be, their location. And we've actually been working really well with the tech companies who have been cooperating because they don't want our law enforcement officers to get injured. So yes.
Well, I mean, I see it with ICE where they're having, where they define where they live, who they are. And, I didn't have a big view on the mask, but I now understand why they should wear masks. I think it's very dangerous for them not to wear masks. They can do whatever they want. I notice some do it and some don't, but it's pretty dangerous. But when you look at, you talk about that question, I think it's very dangerous, and I think you're coming down on that very hard, right? Yeah, please.
Sir, Mr. President.
Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. When you were running for re-election in 2024, you released a video statement where you made this exact promise to show no mercy on the cartels and employ every military asset necessary to combat them. In that same video, you also said that you plan to expose all the bribes and corruptions with politicians and the cartels.
We're doing that.
Has
Yeah,
your
we're
task
trying to
force
do
been
that.
looking into that in American politicians?
Yeah, where the money's coming from. Because you see it. Like even that garbage deal they had this weekend, which was embarrassing to them, and the crowds were the crowds were not big. Those crowds were not big at all. But when you look at signs, and they're all made beautifully, the yellow signs, I saw the yellows, the blues, but they're all made professionally in a printing shop. Looks like on Madison Avenue someplace. Some guy is paying for all that stuff. And
Soros.
we don't mind protest. Protest is a good thing. I protest. I'm always protesting, right? But when you see some of these people are going crazy. They're going crazy because they're getting paid. Because there's no reason for them to be going crazy. But you watch some of them, and they're professional agitators, and we are finding out who's paying them. Yeah, we have a lot of information about who they are. You're going to be very surprised when you find out.
I have a question for Secretary Hegseth. Sir, a memo circulating on social media details the establishment of a National Guard response force that's going to be trained in crowd control and civil unrest and deployed in all 50 states by April of 2026. Can you verify the authenticity of that memo, and do you have any more information on the operations?
I'm not going to answer particulars on something that may be in the planning process, but we definitely do have multiple layers of National Guard response forces, whether it's in each state, whether it's regionally, whether it's Title 10 active duty, whether it's Washington, D.C. We've got a lot of different ways that constitutionally and legally we can employ Title 10 and Title 32 forces, and we will do so when necessary.
Portland looks good here, folks. Portland invasion looks good here.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
President Putin basically said today that Russia is immune from U.S. sanctions. He said that it would not impact the Russian economy in any serious way. Is he
Good.
wrong?
I'm glad he feels that way. That's good. I'll let you know about it in 6 months from now. Okay. Let's see how it all works out. Yeah. Go ahead, please, Blue.
Task force, one about the shutdown. I'm Taylor
Okay,
Poplars with Spectrum News. The same day you established this task force back on January 20th was the same day you pardoned the January 6th defendants.
Yeah.
Just
Very proud of that. Yeah.
Just last weekend, one of them was charged with allegedly threatening to kill House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. And a big theme of this task force has been allowing law enforcement to do their job and holding accountable people who go after law enforcement. Do you worry that your actions back on day one undermine what this task force is trying to accomplish?
No, you have thousands of people that we're dealing with, and if one goes haywire, look at what this guy in Virginia said, where he wanted to kill his opponent. He's going to kill his opponent. He's going to kill his opponent's children and I think wife. And he continues to run, and the Democrats continue. He's running for Attorney General in Virginia. Look what he said. So now, do you think all Democrats should be prohibited from living anymore. I mean, think of what he said. He's going to kill his opponent and he's going to kill the children of his opponent. And I think the wife. I said, this guy's sick. That is a sick guy. And how do you vote for somebody like that? But I don't view that every Democrat would say that, because not every Democrat would say that. So you can't, you could have one person, but I don't know of the incident. I can say we're very proud of what we did. We had the courage to do something that should have been done. The problem sometimes the Republicans are too nice. They're a very nice party. The Democrats play a much dirtier fight. It's amazing. You go after dirty cops like Comey, and you go after, these are dirty cops. Letitia James is a dirty cop. You go after these people and they say how horrible you are. And yet I got indicted 5 times and impeached twice. Nobody says anything about that. They say, oh, they actually said the other day, oh, he's trying to indict somebody. I got indicted 4 or 5 times, Todd, maybe more than that. Yeah, I think you could say 87 times if you really think about it, right? With the charges, a bunch of phony guys, but nobody says anything about that. But they mentioned it the other way. No, the Democrats play a very dirty game. It's all they're good at. They're good at a couple of things: cheating on elections and playing very dirty. And they have one good trait: they stick together. They stick together. They stick together through the worst policies that anybody's ever seen. It's unbelievable how they stick together. And I respect them for sticking together, but it's a dead party because their policies are no good. Okay. Brian, we'll do a few more and we'll go home.
Wonderful. Speaking
Everybody's going to go home. I'm going back to the Oval Office, however.
Speaking of Democrats, there's a report that there's a grand jury on Adam Schiff for apparent mortgage fraud. If he is indicted,
lock him.
Should he step down as a U.S. Senator?
Well, I'm not going to comment on that. I would just say Adam Schiff is one of the lowest forms of scum I've ever dealt with in politics. He's a horrible human being, very dishonest person. I have no idea what's going on. You tell me that he's going to be indicted. I don't know. You could ask Pam. I don't know if she could say it. Probably you are allowed to say it, but I wouldn't know about that. I can only tell you he's a very bad. I think he's actually a sick person. You want to talk about that?
We're not going to comment on any grand jury that's open. We can't legally.
I don't know. By the way, I hope it's true, but I don't know anything about it.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. That's a yes.
Oh, millions of dollars. Yeah. Well, I also give, I give a lot of money to the White House. The White House is, as you know, I give my salary, and I usually like to steer it to the White House because this house was a little bit abandoned. First of all, for 4 years, you had a guy walking around that didn't know where the hell he was. And this house was not taken care of the way it was supposed to be. I take very good care of property. I was very good at that. And you'll notice the floors downstairs, I paid for them. Marble, the most beautiful marble you've ever seen. The white floors down in the palm room, which they look like they came out of, I don't want to lose because they're big supporters of mine, Home Depot. So I'm not going to say bad, but they did come out of a box from Home Depot about 30 years ago. They were all broken, but now they have the most beautiful floors, the most beautiful lights and chandeliers. I think most of you, Brian, you've seen that, right?
Yes.
How beautiful is that? And I take care of it. So I spend millions of dollars on this building, taking care of it. It was not properly maintained, and now it's starting to gleam like it should. It should really gleam, and you should go down and visit the Presidential Walk of Fame. Have you seen it? It's quite good. I'm sure that a lot of people coming to the White House, it's hot. It's very hot, but it's really a tribute to the presidents, past presidents of our country. Yeah, please.
Mr. President.
Yeah, behind you, please. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
So on Monday, question for you as well as Secretary Noem. On Monday, Mayor Karen Bass of LA and Representative Robert Garcia, they held a press conference and they called for an investigation into DHS, accusing them of unlawfully arresting U.S. citizens and racially profiling and only arresting people because, in Robert Garcia's words, they look like me. He's a Hispanic individual. Do you have a response to that?
Are you asking me that question?
You as well as
They are
Secretary Noem.
arresting. They are arresting bad criminals. and they're really good at it too. I look at the numbers, they always like to say that, oh, you're arresting this and that. Then when you check it, you find out, geez, almost every single time. And, obviously every once in a while they may get one wrong, but they always correct it. They're able to correct it. But they are arresting really bad people. They're arresting people that kill, people that would cut your throat and not even care about it. These are brave people, and it's very dangerous. And if they go even a little bit too far, they get into trouble, which is a shame. I protect them, but they get into trouble. But they're arresting very serious criminals, and they're getting them out of here. Okay, one or two more. Doug, do you have a question? I'd love to have Doug have a question, our great photographer, because he's such a great guy, and he might be the most talented person over there. I don't know. Go ahead. Let's hear your question. This guy's a real beauty.
On the cartel strategy, hearing you talk about it as war, hearing Secretary Hegseth talk about defeating and destroying and the comparisons to
Right.
ISIS and Al Qaeda, those efforts took American troops being engaged in foreign countries. Do you think that's ultimately where this is headed with the cartels, having American troops in countries like
No,
Venezuela?
the cartels are very bad. They a lot of bad people coming in. They were interviewed recently, and they were asking people what their problem was, and one guy said, "Yes, I'm up for murder." Didn't know what he was saying, obviously. I'm sure his lawyer was not thrilled with his statement, but no, they're rough people coming into those cartels. Those cartels are rough. You look at what happens. The trip up is horrible, especially for women. They're being killed. They're being raped at levels that nobody thought even possible. In my opening speech, I mentioned that, but in a very light way. I mentioned the word rape. Then it found out that you take a look at what happens in those cartels. It's horrible what's going on. And we're doing the world a big service by just telling them, you don't have too many cartels now because they know when they get up here, they're going to be stopped. Under Biden, they were just flowing into the country. It didn't matter what you were, where you came from, what you looked like, what your record. They didn't check records. Millions of people came into this country that should not be in our country right now. We've gotten a lot of them out. It's the single biggest problem that we were given. Inflation, I've already taken care of. Economically, the country is the strongest it's ever been. Thank God for tariffs. If we didn't have tariffs, we'd be a third world nation. But thank God for tariffs. We're the richest nation in the world now because of tariffs.
Abolish
And we're able
IRS
to
then.
economically protect ourselves, and we're able to really protect ourselves from a national security, situation. But we have cartels that, somebody came up with the word cartel. I won't tell you who that person was, but you got a lot of bad people in the cartels. And you could look at a country like Mexico, and I really respect the president. I really respect a lot of the people over there, but a lot of the leadership, but they are in fear in their own country because those cartels are running those countries, okay? And that includes Colombia. Colombia is a drug den. It's a drug den, and it has been for a long time. You got a lousy leader over there right now, bad guy, a thug, but they make cocaine at levels that we've never seen before, and they sell it back into this, and they're not going to get away with it much longer. We're not going to put up with it much longer. Colombia is very bad. Mexico is run by the cartels. I have great respect for the president, a woman that I think is a tremendous woman. She's a very brave woman. But Mexico is run by the cartels, and we have to defend ourselves from that. Go ahead. Let's go with you. Go ahead. Let's listen to this beauty.
Shut down by the time you return from your trip to Asia?
Do I expect to have it resolved by the time I resume? I don't know. I said long ago, we shouldn't have been in this problem. This was September 28th. It came due in Biden's regime, and before the election, September 28th, and they pushed it off into the future. And I was running when they did that. And when you're running, but I did say, what the hell are they doing? That and debt ceiling. They also pushed the debt ceiling past the election date. So that would mean the next president has it. But I did say that I think the Democrats have gone totally crazy. And you don't know what they're going to do because they don't care about the people. They don't. I really think they have no leadership. they have a lot of very low IQ people. Jasmine Crockett is a low IQ person. A lot of them are. I don't want to insult too many of them, but a lot of them are. They have no rudder. I don't think they know what they're doing right now. You know, they've never done this before. They always agreed to go and, you know, called an extension. Let's do an extension and talk. Even today, look at what happened today. They wouldn't even, they don't want to pay the people that have worked. And, you know, this was supposed to be this was a test. And they wouldn't pay the people that have been working. They said, no, we don't want to pay them. This is all the Democrats. Now, all we need is 5 Democrats. And I know a lot of Democrats that are saying they're more than 5, probably not that many more than 5, but they're more than 5. And all we need is like 5 Democrat votes. So we open our country again. Sad, though, we have the greatest economy in our history. We have the highest stock market. All these things are rocking. We will have by the end of my first year more than $20 trillion of investment. The all-time record is $3 trillion. I think it's China. We're going to have 20 or $21 trillion. We've never had anything like it coming in because of tariffs. The money pouring into our country, the plants that are opening, AI, automobiles, everything. And the Democrats want to close our country. They're really, you know, they say deranged. They suffer. I guess it's Trump derangement syndrome, which I think is going down now as an official condition by the doctors. I think they get paid extra money if they handle it because it's more difficult to handle than a normal mental disease. But you know what? They really should approve an extension, get the country back to work, get the people paid. And, you know, it's very simple. You just don't know what's going on. There's something wrong with them. Yeah, it's sad, actually.
Sad.
Have you raised the full $300 million needed to fund your ballroom? And how much specifically are you donating to this construction
Raised,
project?
I think $350 million. All donor money and money that we put up. We've raised. It's going to be. It's going to cost right in the neighborhood of $300 million. It's been expanded and made absolutely. It'll be the most beautiful ballroom anywhere in the world, I think.
Maybe the best.
How much am I donating? I won't be able to tell you until I finish, but I'll donate whatever's needed. I'll tell you that.
They'll still
Do I
freak
have a
out on
name
him.
for
for
this?
it.
I won't get into that now. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Go without their first full paychecks, federal
I had
workers.
it. By
We've
the way,
already
a friend of mine, talking about donors, a friend of mine, a man that's great. I'm not going to use his name unless he lets me do it. Susie can tell you about this, but he called us the other day and he said, I'd like to contribute any shortfall you have because of the Democrat shutdown. I'd like to personally contribute any shortfall you have with the military, because I love the military and I love the country. And any shortfall, if there's a shortfall, I'll contribute it. And today he sent us a check for $130 million. I would love to tell you he doesn't really want the recognition, if you want to know the truth, but he gave us a check for $130 million, which was sort of a shortfall, yeah. And that's going to go to the military, yeah. Is that the correct number? $130 million. That's what I call a patriot. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Holy mother of God. Absolutely incredible. I mean, and there's Mr. Clean. Maddie, this is terrifying, okay? You're terrifying me with Mr. Clean again. Okay.
It's just a head and shoulders pattern. We see it all the time. No big deal.
Yeah, I mean, in Bitcoin, it's on the edge, right? So I didn't have any open trades. I left this alone. Take profit too that I put in the Discord this morning. The entry points designed were $109,800, or actually $108,800, and got in. And take profit 1 was hit. Take profit 2 was hit right before that stream. We're printing money, right? Everyone's out here complaining that we can't make money and stuff. Well, you know what? You just might need to lock in a little bit more and research really, really hard. Stay very focused and don't miss a beat. We are going to stay focused on this markets for you guys. Love and appreciate every single one of you. Piano Matty B, thank you for joining me on this cataclysmic day. Yeah, it was just
unbelievable
insane.
afternoon.
Yeah, man. Kelly, We're going to make it. Your background says it all. Okay. Rome is burning. Bitcoin's the way. Okay.
Sometimes you need beauty. Sometimes just some deer in a creek. But you know what? I mean, yeah, we got some levels to look at below. Go back to the other screen.
Yeah.
We got some levels to look at below. The most immediate area I'd be watching is if we drop a bit further down in this. This is a 1 minute chart. I just realized that, but this low 109, let's go to the 1 hour chart. We're still very heavily within the kind of structure that we've been watching. If we start losing the 107 area, that's when I think we're going to start tackling the frustration zone. But remember, this has been trading sideways for about 100 and something days here. Look at this, 110 days, 109 days. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this cook a little bit longer, a bit sideways, because we still are within this broadening wedge. But as it stands right now, we're just we're dealing with the frustration of expectation. The Fed rate cuts next week. We've got the meeting with he did say it, and all of that nonsense that was just chopped up and talked about. He did talk about having the meeting with Xi Jinping. I think he said it was going to be concluding around November 1st. So keep your eyes on that.
Like it's happening. It sounds like the meeting is going to happen. And thank you, Patrick Mitchell. He's giving Kelly a shout out, ex-military Kelly. And again, thank you for your serving this country, dude. Love and appreciate every single one of you out there in the chat. Reshare the stream. That was absolutely unhinging. Please, someone clip that CZ part. Please clip the you don't know crypto. We're moving on. Yeah, that was absolutely incredible. I love you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Till next time, you know what it is, how we do it here in the blockchain basement, BitLab Academy, Disco's Consortium.
You are banned!